All right, guys, welcome back to Kamish Reviews. I have something I'm doing. The new challenge, Allstars 4 is coming up, and I want to talk about Ayanna, somebody who I've interviewed and going through my videos. I've actually done recaps with. So we're gonna do like kind of a little bit of a deep dive and talk about Ayanna and just her in general. Being on the challenge and even my relationship that I have with her outside of the show. But what I want to start out with is playing the full interview of Ayanna, and then we're going to get into the things of just all the things that we've done, different commentaries. So this is going to probably be, more than an hour, depending on what I show. So I would go to the restroom, go get a drink. If you are fans, you are fun. This is going to be fun, and make sure that you are ready. Okay. So, with that being said, I am going to first share my screen, and then I'm going to take myself out of the situation. Waiting for this, and it's going to be probably some ads playing as well. Oh,
Why
my
did we
bad.
get internet from this cell phone company?
Thought it was still done. So there may be ads. Also as well, just want to let you know that because I won't be at the computer. I'll be letting just the audio, the videos play. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Ooh, might be Christmas time. All right, guys. Hello. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am on YouTube. I'm a blogger. I love being on YouTube. I started there. I also have Instagram, and we know how important having all the IG likes and everything. That's super important, right? But I'm also on Twitter as well, even though I tweet. But hey, I'm telling you where I'm at, all right? You also can find me on Facebook, which I also love, and I also have a group there as well. Now, as far as Facebook likes, I'm still new to that, but pretty much I'm a blogger. I blog on YouTube. I blog on Instagram. I blog on Facebook. I also blog on Twitter. Well, my clips. Doing interviews and blogging is something that I love to do. Um, the reason why I got into it because of TV. I love reality TV, scripted TV as well. But the thing about it is, what I decided to do with my channel and everything about me is I take TV and I talk about it. I blog about it. I put everything that I know about reality TV on my blog. Not only do I talk about what happens on TV, I also spill tea. Yeah, I do that. Now, because I do that, I don't know what kind of blogger you would call me. I'll call myself a rebel blogger because I come in and give whatever it is, period. Okay. So follow me, Commission Reviews. Check me out. I'm on YouTube. Like I said before, you can find me there. You also can find me on Instagram. Okay. And don't forget, you can also find me on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, it's your girl Stacy B. Make sure you're tuning in to my girl, Kamisha Reviews. She's going to be dropping all the bombs and serving all the piping hot tea. And you know I'm going to be there watching.
Don't you want to be the first person at the water cooler who knows everything? Most of the time around the water cooler at work or whatever, you really don't like like each other, don't want to talk to each other, but you got to talk about something. Even the ones that do too much, okay? Still got to talk to them, even though they don't really want to hear what you got to say. Join Kamisha Reviews membership, where all the tea is dropped. Something going on. Kamisha Reviews knows the tea. You want to get it first? Make sure you join the membership. What are you waiting for? Get in that group so you can know what's popping, baby. All right. Why is she doing all that? I don't even know what she's doing. I'm just gonna ignore her and keep it moving. Do not forget to subscribe to all my social media so you don't miss out on anything else that I post. Join Kamisha Reviews crew. Have you not joined the membership yet? Take a few seconds and just hit the join button. It's very easy to do. Just select the join button. It will take you here. And as you'll see, you'll be able to join different tiers of the membership. As a member, you are also able to choose emojis that I created just for us.
With Asana, you can drive clarity and impact at scale by connecting work and workflows to company-wide goals. Asana, a smarter way to work. Try it for free.
Your money puts in the elbow grease, you put in a puzzle piece. Make your money hustle with Betterment.
Okay, my bad. Y'all know I never go that long as far as an intro. But oh, never mind. How that worked out so great. What's up, everybody? What's going on in Twitch? What's going on in Twitter? What's going on YouTube? What's good? Facebook group and Facebook. Everybody out there in TV land. Now, you guys know that I cover reality TV. And you guys know that I love the challenge. Have loved it for like forever. Let me take the snow off of here. I realize it's very pretty. I do like it, but I'm gonna take it off my face. Hang on just a second. I feel like I can't. Okay, anyway. So I was super from the time that I saw the trailer of the Challenge All Stars. Challenge All Stars for me is a little bit different. Okay, because I love the challenge, the new ones, everything. But I come from like the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s and watching the challenge and watching all the real road rules, all that stuff. It was a thing for me. I was young watching it. And so Ayana was one of those. You think about the beast mode, you think about, you see, oh, they're gonna go beast mode. She was one of those that I equated with that always. And so, you didn't see a few people, people get older to have kids. It's life, same for me. I got college kids now, but I'm just saying. Then you wonder what happened to them or whatever. And so you see the all stars, and you actually see these stars coming back, and you not me for myself. I look at them and I'm saying, man, I know that I feel like I'm beast mode inside, but I am a good 45 years old. I just don't know if I would have it in me to do it again, child. But look, if they told me, because my temper's so crazy, someone said, I challenge you, I'd probably go out there and attempt to try. But Ayanna is that for me. Okay, she is. She has no idea. So I'm going to bring her up. I want you guys to celebrate when I say this queen. Okay, make sure you guys hit the likes up, please, share, and welcome Ayanna to the stage. Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me? Everything's good?
Everything's perfect. I can hear you just fine. How are you?
Oh, wow, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that everything worked out and you were able to have me here.
Yes, I am very, very. And she knows. I think I try to actually get us something started like before the show. So I saw the trailer actually, probably, and she's been extremely gracious and being extremely respectful and helped me get this together. So I want to say shout out to her because she probably doesn't know how it is as far as now. Sometimes reality stars, and I say yes, reality stars, they don't want to really engage unless you have certain numbers. And she's so humble, and so she understands. I want to celebrate her. So anyway, um, first of all, welcome to my platform. Welcome to my channel. And Ayanna, you like I said, for me, you just don't understand. I'm of a certain age, and to see you out there just beasting through it is something for me. So I guess I want to celebrate you. What made you decide to go back after all this time? That's the question
You
I want
know,
to ask you first.
listen, you made me go back. All of
Mm,
us who are out here, we're 70s babies, shout out to the 60s babies too.
back
You
is
know, this society that we live in is really quick to frame us all up as being, over the hill or our time is done. And I'm not willing to accept that. So I'm out here for all of us that every single day have to throw on those invisible capes and make it happen. So that's why I went back with the challenge.
exactly okay. So now that you are back, and like I said, the Yana that we saw that slept with the uniform on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I'm telling you, the people have to understand the history with this, and to see you go back in the house, especially when you had the challenge. And I kept replaying, and I put it on my channel. I kept replaying. I posted it everywhere. I was like, this is crazy. Pulling the covers, everybody look at they're struggling. And I'm like, just look at this queen. Just coming through like it's just like nothing. Like it was everything. It was everything to me. It was just almost like it was worth it. It was worth the wait, the trailer, wait for it to come on, everything. Did you know that you going into the house is going to affect fans, affect everything? Because I know it has to change life some kind of way. I'm pretty sure you didn't know going in, but did you imagine?
No, not in the slightest. We live in the moment, and
Mm,
you might even hear in the background a little bit during your live. I have a little baby less than 8 feet away from me.
wow.
And, all of us that are out here in the midst of a pandemic, in the
Hmm.
midst of everything that we've been faced with for the last 2 years, this new normal,
Yeah.
um, you know, we can't even say that tomorrow we're going to be okay because
Look.
you might get hit by that Omicron
Yeah.
or that's this Delta variant. So
Yes.
I really didn't expect um any moment walking into the house either. I kind of walked into the house with what I walk into my house with. Expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Do you because I know that you've been out of the reality show for a while, but have you been watching reality TV, The Challenge, all from the past 10 years? Have you been watching it yourself before you got on the show? Because I'm leading it to a question I'm going to ask.
Oh no, it's all good.
Okay.
Many times if you talk to a lot of people who have been on competition reality shows, in the past, it gets to a space. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
It gets to a space where either you do what you came to do and then you go on about your business, or there is something that's left undone. And for me, when I left the challenge the last time, there was a moment that was left undone.
Okay.
And I can say it was painful for me to watch. It wasn't that. It was literally almost a year and a half after my last challenge. I was pregnant with my first child. So
Oh,
I didn't
beautiful.
see myself as being able to be in that world anymore. So
Hmm.
I didn't watch the challenge. In a way, it was smarting for me in that, you know, I didn't see myself at a certain weight, a certain capacity to be able to do all of those adventurous things anymore. I was faced a new adventure of at the time being a single mom of not one, but two children that I had
Hmm.
back to back. I was
Right.
working 3 jobs. I was in grad school. I was working uh,
Wow.
around the clock. I think I went to work a week after I had my first child. So all
Wow. That's
that
the
being
mother life.
said,
Yes.
to answer
Wow.
your question, um, streaming, the technology that exists, the way it exists now, it did not lend for me to be able to easily on demand, watch content, period.
Okay.
So jump to here we are in 2021. I definitely check out more reality content than I ever would have back in 2006,
Right.
2007.
Okay.
Just because it's at your fingertips, you know.
Yes, yes, I understood.
I will say this: one of my guilty pleasures with reality is Teen Mom, because in so many ways I want to reach out to the
Oh,
girl.
Lord.
Girl, this is how we can totally hack your life. You got this, girl. You know,
Yes,
it's such
yes,
a
for
hard thing
real.
to,
Exactly.
especially as a child, but it's a hard thing,
Mhm.
period, when you have to make that choice to have a child out of certain supports and outside of certain realities that society tends to accept. It just takes a special kind of person for that. So I have a special love for every girl that's ever been on Teen Mom, even the ones
Yes,
that are a little
yes.
ratchet.
Yes, ma'am. For real. The reason why I asked you that is because one of the things that I like to cover about reality TV is honestly growing up watching it. I didn't see a whole lot of people that look like myself, my daughter, or just people of color in general. And I mean all people of color. So it's for me myself, you would celebrate the Yannas, the different Cams, the Corley, all the different people that you don't really see that much. And now, of course, the blessings we see more of that now. But for you, even I know you said you didn't watch a lot of it, but that's literally what was going on. Do you see a difference, or did it affect you being on that you was a pioneer at that time? Honestly, you really were. It was always like one or two. You know what I'm saying? It never was like three or four, like one or two, maybe one. And I just remember always watching that thing, thinking, how come it can't be more than just that? That I can see representing me. So I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about that? Because you were a pioneer and you're back on there now. So you kind of was there for the past and for the now. So you get the benefit of both worlds, honestly.
I tell you, I have to give props up to the real, like the first folks that were really doing this, and that's Kevin Powell, Heather B, Los,
Facts.
Romy. Those were folks that walk on their shoulders in many respects. Because
Yes,
so
it
many of
was.
the things that were seemingly, I think, controversial at that time would be seen as normative today. I
Mm,
think that when our seasons came out, with myself and Sean and Ruthie and Tech, because we were all on television at the same time,
yes.
our respective shows,
Hmm. Hmm.
we had a little bit more wiggle room than the people that even came before us.
Wow.
So, to encounter people that were like, oh my gosh, I started locking my hair because your hair was locked, or I started exploring certain ways of looking at the world and looking at my spirituality because you said this or that. That was, I would say, it opened up more doors than for me to like broaden my own understandings than to, in a sense, prop myself up, because I would meet people and they were like saying, yeah, when you did X, Y, and Z, we do that in my tradition of Ifa, or we do this in my tradition of, and you fill in the blank with what that is. So it caused me to like open up new doors and say, oh, wow, I didn't know about this either, and just have broader conversations. So that being said, to be on this challenge and there it be such a diversity, it was definitely refreshing to just, have people from multiple walks of life, multiple dimensions, but then we're older too. So you get to trim the fat of a lot of the misunderstandings that I think as kids you're gonna have when you're in that kind of environment, if that makes sense. We weren't like trying to get each other drunk all the time. If anything, some of us, are trying to
Right.
have a little bit of a
Right.
tolerance, and,
Yes.
and have a
Yes.
temperance um, to what it is that we were trying to do on the relaxation, to come back home, having these opportunities to expand my own awareness.
Yes.
At the time I was at Howard and I was like a sophomore, so I wasn't even like a grad student that was well read or anything. I just was like leaning on the edge of just a little bit of information all the time.
Okay. Right.
So, I remember when I got back, Dr. Greg Carr, he has a Saturday class. He's been with Karen Hunter for, he's done over like 90 episodes now. Dr. Carr pulled me aside and was like, yeah, you know, when you said X, Y, and Z, I got this book I want you to read. And that book is sitting here on my shelf right now. I still have it
Right.
like 20 years later. That's just how it was for me. I don't know how it was for other people, but
Okay.
for me, it was humbling in that a lot of people who I never met before didn't know, kind of connected with the story about my mom or connected with,
Yeah.
you know, the conversations I was having about race at the time. But at the same token, I had a lot of learning to do, and
Yes.
it just opened up that pathway to do that.
Wow. That's beautiful. You really you give me that spirit. You give me that type of spirit. I want to kind of jump into it. This is the shows I've already debuted already about a situation where with the Sophia, and I know everyone's kind of already talked to you, asked you 100 times about it, and I was like, you know what? This is just me speaking as watching. I was like, I know a lot of people gonna probably be upset and mad, but the thing that I like about the situation is you're taking this show. It's a challenge. It's a competition. The one
Right.
thing I don't think what people realize is that you're on a competition. This is not the best friend show. And I'm not trying to be, it's not shady or anything. I'm just talking about in general that I think people forget that when they get on these types of shows. So I wanted to, because I know you've been getting a little backlash about it. People have been talking about it. It's been in the blogs, it's been whatever. Give me your take or what do you want to say about it? Because to me, I respected it, understood it immediately as soon as it happened. I really did.
Yeah, you know, I've been trying to find ways to, you know, tell the story more concise. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to direct all the viewers, you know, over to, you know, Mike Lewis podcast, reality. I'm also Entertainment Weekly, the editor of that, excuse me, the writer for that article, a woman named Cindy Bucksbaum. I get into a whole lot of detail around that particular situation with
Okay.
Sophia.
Okay.
But I'll, you know, in a concise way for those of y'all that have other, you know, things that you need to do with your life or time.
I'll have
You know,
all
I'll
those
give it to
links
you,
in the live later.
yeah, you know, I'll give it to you real basic. You know, we've all had acquaintances that when we re-encounter them, they're at a different place in their life. You know,
Mhm.
the last time that I encountered, you know, Sophia, I was at a very different space and place. I'm now a mom of four, coming out of COVID, being in my apartment for almost 2 years, with four of my children.
Okay.
Full stop. Like I
Right.
had a baby and we went into quarantine and it was like
Crazy, man.
homeschool. And it's like, whoa, transform your whole world from being a full-time teacher, approaching a master's degree to having to do gig economy work while also trying to find coverage, while also trying to circumvent getting a pandemic virus at the same time, along with a host of other things. So to come into this competition with a certain level of grit and no room for the bullshit,
Right.
I think that any woman, man, I don't care what race you are, you can definitely relate to when you've been through something and you have to produce a certain expectation for your family, for your real friends, and then somebody else walks along in that space without the same kind of, I would say, attention to how important that is.
Okay.
Um, Again, I don't know her personal business to know what she came into this
Mhm.
challenge with. But I know what I came in with. So to get
100%.
undone over a hairstyle, in that kind of way and the way that it was dealt with in the house, it was real clear for me that I needed to stay focused on what I came there to do. So, you know, for anybody that feels some type of way about it, I want you to think about somebody that might be close to you in your life at one stage of your life. And then when they come back in, you know, start spinning and creating mess in your world. I want you to
Mm.
think about how you dealt with that. And
Yes.
you know, apply that to my circumstance. And
There you
that's
go.
the best way I could put that and also be respectful of her humanity.
Understood.
Not getting the weeds of, you know, trying to drag somebody down because I ain't about that life.
Right.
But I stand by what I did. I'm glad you felt me for real.
Yes. Yes.
I got a
Yes.
lot of people telling me that they felt me too. They're like, wait a minute. Yeah,
Yes.
$500,000. You got 4 kids. Yeah, you
I
don't have to.
mean, I don't. There was not nothing that I saw that was like crazy. And so when I was reading, I didn't really get it that it was a situation until like the next day, and I saw the comments, and I was like, oh, maybe I just didn't look at it that way, because I don't know. I'll be like, if you cool with me, you need to go going in something might happen that you're not going to like. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you straight. Before we get into this house, I'm going for the coin. If you're getting away, I'm sorry. Because you are beasting. You are beasting. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When you took off your uniform for the second time because you was in the elimination, all that, I was like, you know what? That was everything. But the scene that took me out is when you was like on the board and you never really raised your voice or anything, but you was just simple. I just want to know, am I in here because of this? And I'm just like, respect. You just being straight up. I just want to know what it is. There's nothing else extra. Am I here because of? And I'm just like, I just respect you more, even before you slept in the uniform and everything. So that's why I was so excited to have you on here, because covering reality TV, interviewing reality TV stars, it hits different. Right. Your challenge hits different because so many of y'all in there that I used to watch back in the day, and I feel like the All-Stars, y'all are coming heavier, I feel like, than when y'all was younger. And for me, 45 years old, it's like, shoot, maybe I'm gonna do something like that. We always say, I couldn't do it, but I said, this woman pulled a doggone coffin and people were struggling with it. Come on now.
Like, how many times have you been on a job, right? And when you walk in the door, you have to be early is on time is late. You have to try to bring it 10 times harder than anybody else that brings it. There are other cast members that have, shared their stories about, they got a pool in the backyard, they live in a Hallmark car, they live in job comfortable. And I'm not saying that I live uncomfortable. I live very humbly, but I don't have a pool in the back alley. I live in a building with other people. You know what I mean?
Say that.
So,
say that.
I was clear.
Right.
I was clear. Just like, I got my Biggie t-shirt on right now, RIP to him and his.
Hey, one more chance. Mm-hmm.
That's right. It's like, when he says, "In one more chance," he was like, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Like, my home, like home for me, is right here the whole time. I'm sitting at that table. I'm like, you doing this for this? Okay. How can I now change this circumstance so that I can bring more skrill, more resources, more stability home to my family? Like, that's it. And if you know about that life, you're about that life. If you're not, hey, reality TV or not, I'm gonna bring me. And that's who I am.
Yes, much respect. I don't think people realize that, especially when you become a mom, regardless of what you were before, everything changes for you. Your DNA changes, or whatever, your mind, your spirit. If you have a child, it's like everything is for that child until even when they're grown or whatever, So I just think that people don't get it. So you going into the house, you going in there representing what you got to do. It's like you got to bring home the bacon, however you want to say it, to take care of your family. And I just don't think they understand.
We go to the public pool when we go swimming. We don't go in the backyard. we pack our little bag with our extra food, and we stand in the line with everybody else, and we go during the designated times. This is what I'm coming with. That being said, as well, I was also really clear that I'd been out of that space for 20 years. Folks had relationships.
Yes.
Folks had, been on the different Rivieras and all the different places where people vacation. They had these experiences that I did not have. And I'm telling you, like, again, I reach out to your viewers right now. You might be watching at work, you might be watching in the living room or whatever. Think of those times when you've been the only one in the room that is coming with your backstory. But everybody else, they got country club memberships and all of these other pieces that cause them to play a different game. So only one I could depend upon was me. That's why I love the elimination arena.
Yes, I identify with that.
Yourself in there.
Yes, I look, because the thing about it, you never even got into. I mean, this is just the past, not the future, but the past episodes. You haven't gotten into no static with anything. Every time it's always about, look, I'm down, whatever. What do you want to do? I don't care who you want to go against. It doesn't matter. You just there to take care of business. And I think everyone else is, like you said, the mindset, the different little groups getting together. You're not even involved with any of it. I'm just like, look, she's like, where you need to be at? Where I need to be. If my ex marks the spot, I'm right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like,
now look, I'm gonna tell you though, how they say, you lay down with roaches, you bound to get bit.
Yeah.
Listen, and I'm not calling nobody a roach,
Well, I got you. Just
but
expression.
we're there for a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can walk in, the door with home right here, right on my periphery. But once you're there for 2, 3, weeks at a time, you don't have your phone, you don't have, access to whatever you consider normal to be. You can't even you can cook your own food, but you can't go shop for yourself,
Right.
You're not using
Wow.
your pots and pans and your spoon that you know how it stirs and everything. So
Mm.
you're going to see some interesting developments as we get farther into the game.
Right.
You may see some pieces of Ayanna that come out. You're like, wait a minute,
Mm.
was she really?
Mm.
What is this part? What is this happening? It's reality. You watch,
It is.
you cover reality.
Yes,
So
I do.
people have a tendency to somewhat respond to these dystopian situations that they're placed in
Okay.
ways that they probably wouldn't in their regular lives.
Facts.
So it is what it is,
That's the way it is, though. I'm gonna be honest. One of the things that I do cover, I kind of push the button a little bit with reality TV. I do. Some of my content has gotten a few producers and networks not that happy with me because I give it the real. I mean, I'm not stopping nobody's bag or anything, including my own. But when I cover it, I cover the real. I've always felt like a lot of time reality TV stars get put into a light where we don't see the full picture. So they're creating these certain images and narratives for us. They're not exactly transparent 100%. And I know that going in, but I'm still a fan of the craft and the show. And because I don't want to stop anybody's back, I don't, I know where to go with it. But that's just my opinion. I've said it more than one time. I love reality TV, but it's not all reality TV. And sometimes I think y'all get dragged, and we as fans have not seen the full picture or the full video or even the full conversation in a lot of times. So I always want to give them
It's
out because we
interesting
don't.
though, to your point, like Leroy
But
recently, Leroy from one of the younger challengers,
yes.
he spoke up about,
Mm-hmm,
racism
mm-hmm.
and some other issues that he had, had confronted while he was on his show. And
Yes.
I wanted to just stop because
Oh
I'm
my
trying to
God.
watch every single challenge in order. Like I've had this yeoman's task for myself that I'm going to watch all these challenges back to back in order. And I haven't quite
Wow.
gotten into the
Ooh, okay.
30s yet. I'm still in the teens watching the challenge.
Yeah.
So, but I want to watch it like in order. But I wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
back and see the incident that he was talking about. But before I chose to do that, I was like, wait a minute, I've been in that situation. I know what it felt like to
Wow.
have somebody call me a nigger, out my name at 2:00 in the morning while they were drunk. That happened almost, 15 years before his incident happened to me.
Okay.
You know,
Wow.
I was one of the first people kicked off the challenge. I don't know if you guys remember the extreme challenge. I was kicked off the challenge for, basically hitting Christian and pushing him off of me after he called me a nigger while he
Mm.
was drunk at like 2:00 in the morning. Um, do I think I would have gotten sent home today for that? Absolutely not. But back in
Right.
2000, I was.
Right.
I was sent home for that. So there are some shared experiences when I watched his video and remembered how I felt when it happened to me. Um, he didn't raise a hand to her and he didn't go home, but I know what it feels like to be faced with that choice in the moment.
Yes.
There are some lessons I think that, networks can learn as it relates to how people of color do process being marginalized in these spaces. There are people that make a whole lot
Yes.
more than I do that can unravel that in multiple ways. I will say this though, and I've said this before. Leroy further says in that expression that he apologizes to himself for not reacting in a certain way. And, I don't know if he's going to ever watch this, but if he ever does, I want you to say, apologize for just that. When
Hmm.
somebody makes a choice to violate you, you have nothing to apologize for as it relates to how you react to that violation. That's all
100%.
I got. That's all I got.
100%.
You don't have
100%.
nothing to be sorry for.
Oh Lord, yes, that is well, that was one of the biggest questions I was going to ask you was about that. So I'm so happy that I'm going to make sure that he hears this because he probably needs to hear that from somebody, especially from a vet that's been in the game and have had experiences that stories like you said earlier that haven't been told that should be told now. Because the thing about it is a lot of us fans, we think those things happen, especially on the older shows. But of course, there's a difference. Now they talk about it. Even for myself, just a normal life, things that were spoken about now weren't spoken about when I was younger, and vice versa for you. So those stories need to be told. I'm always pushing the envelope and saying that people of color, even though we're winning, we've still lost in so many ways. And we watch things on TV and we're fans of that. Some actors or cast members of reality TV are getting paid more than others. There's still stuff going on that has not been addressed. So, I'm just happy you brought that up. It's just it's very important to me. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes folks
yes.
tend to pick and choose when we're talking about what someone has to, feel apologetic for. When the Me Too movement came along, folks were like, "Oh no, she shouldn't have to apologize for telling her story, or he shouldn't have to apologize for telling his story." Okay, I think that can be extended to other circumstances. What happens when you're violated and you choose to speak out about being violated?
Mm,
Even if people don't agree that you should feel that way. In many ways we tend to be re-victimized because now it's like, okay, that man had to make a choice. When you Google my name, what's going to come up? Is it going to be my business that I've worked really hard to build? Is it going to be this other thing that I've done that embodies who I am? The same thing as, the R. Kelly victims. They had to make a choice like, oh, do I speak my truth and now have my name associated with the trauma when you go
right.
on my online persona? Or am I quiet? Am I silent? These are things that we don't really get to talk about in terms of folks that have these experiences and are faced with the discomfort of having that choice that we didn't ask for. Whereas other people, like I said, when we just bring it all full circle, some people are walking into the house with, "I'm going to win some money and maybe get more TV time," and that's all they're walking into there with. Others are walking in with,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, the last time I came on one of these, this is what happened to me." And I don't think that's just like native to race. That could have been a
So many
female who was
things.
violated, or
Yeah.
someone who was portrayed in such a way that it caused them a trauma. You know, it happens. But is life fair either? No, life is not fair
It's not.
in any
It's really
respect.
not.
What some people are making choices whether or not to, dodge bombs that are being dropped on their house right now. So it's like, okay, is it
Deep
really
stuff.
that deep? What you're having to wrestle with? Is it really that deep? I think there's space for all of it. It's a huge internet. It's a huge metaverse with this electronic world. So,
Yes.
I think we can talk about it without feeling like there's going to be this repercussion. Like, okay, because I know for a fact there's some people that will not respond to what Leroy said for the sheer fact that they don't even want to take the risk that if they say something about it, that it's going to cause them to be blacklisted or whatever else. They don't even want to take the risk. They're like, you know what?
Yes.
Look, I came on here to, be the happy one, and I'm so and that's one. That's my deal. I'm not gonna get into the political stuff, or I'm not gonna get into whatever's controversial, because I don't want somebody taking my name off the list. Because it's enough of us that want to be on that list that we're not gonna, rock the boat.
Yes. This is situation.
I'm like, whatever.
No, I'm saying you don't right now because I'm going through some things where I recently interviewed a Big D, one of the winners from the Big Brother. He's part of the cookout, a historic situation. All the six people of color that got to the end of the house, and one of the things that brought us to the interview was I felt like that not enough Black media covered or were being I'm not covered, excuse me, were being in a circle, like or the list as you stated, to interview reality TV from this situation, and the conversation got pretty
Listen,
deep.
hold
Yes.
up. Let's build a real tea.
Okay.
You are the first of the milieu of people who have reached out to me to say, hey, look, I want to talk to you. I want to just find out more about where you are in 2021 versus 2020. You are the first woman of color to reach out to me, of everybody. I mean, I've had folks reach out to me in languages that I don't even speak,
Wow.
like, okay, we're going to figure out how to do this Russian podcast real
Right.
quick, right?
Right. That's
I
crazy.
don't speak Russian, and
Right. Right. For
we're
real.
going
But
to figure
like,
out how to, reach out to your 8 viewers that really ride for me in
oh my
Russia. You
God.
know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
because some folks too, and I'm going to get into this as well. I don't knock anybody's bag.
Mm.
But I'm not gonna ask Kamisha to pay me $25 to talk to me on my Cameo just because that's a way that I can make money. Like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not my bag in life. Like, when I came up into the challenge, I came up like, number one, I'm gonna try to win $500,000. Number two, I want to connect with other people who are out here, women, men, non-gender conforming, who are fighting through this pandemic and think they can't make it. Because that's my
Yeah.
story. I didn't
Okay.
think I was going to be able to make it through this. When I first had COVID-19, I was like, wait a minute,
Oh my
how are
God.
my kids going to survive? Like, that's my bag.
Right.
So you're not going to see me on Cameo
Yes.
charging nobody to talk to me. If anything, I feel like it's a privilege to have had the opportunity to like have this kind of exposure. It's like, okay, now this is now me giving back to what was given to me. If you reach out to me, you ain't gonna have to worry about, me sending you no bill for it, because I'm here for everybody that's walking this walk like I'm walking this walk, one prayer, one faith walk at a time. So I'm not gonna knock nobody else that does that. That's
Right.
just not what
Understood.
I'm here to do. So, I'm like, look, if it's that, if Black bloggers aren't reaching out to me because they're like, oh man, every time we reach out to the Black kids from the reality shows, they want the bag. They want us to pay them $100 to talk to them or $200 to talk to them. Hey, I'm just going on the record. You reach out to me, just make sure I know what the link is. I can, on my old computer, I can connect,
Yes.
and the baby
Yes.
is asleep. We gonna rap, and that's just what it is.
Well, I don't know if that's to be honest, in some cases that probably is the reason, because that is a thing. So let me just be honest about that. I just learned about that recently. But the issue is just that a lot of Black bloggers don't get responses. Some of them do reach out. I've reached out to people, and I'm not saying they have to respond to me. It's nothing like that. But I'm saying that talking to other Black bloggers, they do go through that unless they're on a certain list of a network. Because I know how it goes when a reality show is over. Most of the time, the networks have certain bloggers on YouTube or whatever podcaster that they want them to interview with, and I have no issue with that. But if the smaller ones or the people who are not on that list try to get in contact with that reality star, either give them an opportunity, tell them no, I can't do it, they'll say something. And I think there's a lot of the breakdown that's happening, that they'll try to get in contact with a reality TV star and will get nothing but crickets. And then they'll
Yeah, I
see
think that
their
there's so many
counterpart get it.
levels to it too, because it's like, again, I'm also learning. I mean, you guys probably out here that taking the time to watch this, y'all probably know a lot more than I do. I mean, literally, I'm old school reality TV. Y'all pick this person who's living their non-entertainment life. You pick them out of their situation, you throw them into this extra situation, and then they go back to their regular life. I'm old school reality. New school reality is I'm going to get on a reality show, and that's going to be my career.
Okay.
And so, every person has a different walk. I know that there are folks on my cast right now that are like, okay, whatever, I'll talk to you, because in their regular walk of their life, they're not trying to be reality stars. They're just like,
Okay.
oh, I had this fun thing that I was able to do, and I did it, and that's cool. However, there are others that have a different thing, and they have to walk whatever that walk is. I don't know what that walk is. I can't call anybody at a network and start moving and grooving and shaking
Right.
and pitching anything. Like, that isn't that's not where I am. But I think that that's good for reality TV too. You gotta have a nice little mix. You can't just have ginger in the soup. You gotta have turmeric. You gotta have some onion. You gotta have
Yes, come on now.
right. You gotta have some bay leaves.
Cayenne pepper.
All the
Add
different.
it all.
So if all of us were trying to be like these D-list Hollywood folk, I don't think that would be a really good show. And I think that if you look at some of these reality shows that aren't doing very well, I think that people can see that, like they see that level of production where everybody's acting, and they're like, well, okay, if we want to watch somebody act, we on Netflix, we gonna watch Denzel act. We gonna watch,
I swear we right here. We right here. Because that's what I feel like the last few seasons of a lot of these shows, I call it produced reality TV, where it's not reality TV, it's actually a production. There's a line, there's a cast, there's a character. Opposed to reality TV, where it's like people just came on, it was like, oh, that happened, I recorded it, oh, we put it on the air. You know what I'm saying? I miss those times. I know that we can't, it might be a sponsor, you can't, say this, that, no violence or whatever it is, but still show the raw, show the real. We want that. We miss that. This productive, produced TV, we might as well, like you say, watch the scripted shows. If we're gonna just do that, I mean,
and I think we give that with the Allstars.
Yes,
I think we give that to y'all. I mean, you see us with makeup and without makeup. Like,
yes,
we do not have a glam squad. I will say that. We're not supposed to talk about what doesn't happen on camera, but I think I can say that there was no glam squad in the background. I mean, if you knew how to do it right, then it looked right. And if you didn't, raise your hand right now.
Look.
If you got a call, to get somebody to do it for you when you in your regular, you gonna see
them braids was everything, baby. Them braids was everything. I was like, she's me Thelma with the braid, the African episode when she had. I was like, look, her hair be braided and ready. I loved it. I was like, look, when I seen the white dude hair braid, I said she must did his hair.
No. I did not braid his hair. I did not braid his hair. And I mean, I would have, but no, he had another special friend that did that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, after braid gate, I stayed in my own lane.
Like I said earlier, that is how you play these games. Because listen, people look at you when you get to the coffin, even when you jump did this, they're like, when you won the challenge with the puzzle, I was like, bro, she's like my hero. When first of all, she's just like, and I know she was tired and everything. It looked like it was very tired, but when you have that adrenaline and that whole thing where it's like, nobody's cheering for me, I don't need it. I'm good. I got me. And you got the puzzle. When you said the crayon fell out, I mean, either my kids are like college, but I just thought about it as a mom. I've had to have them before. I'm trying to put stuff back together because I had kids that were small. And whenever you want to clean it up, you have to literally put the puzzle back together. Do all have nicknames and things for the women and the men, and you're gonna probably be known as the elimination queen and puzzle queen. Just it is what it is. You've heard it here first. Community reviews. Watch, because she will be back again another year because she's killing it. Yeah, if y'all haven't watched this on Paramount, it's on Paramount. She is killing it. The one thing I like about the Challenge All-Stars, it reminds me of old school. It's not like the new or whatever, and it just reminds me of old school. Raw in your face. I love it. And like I said, the whole puzzle thing to me was still everything.
It's fun. And I mean, it's really fun. My kids every Thursday, like I tell them, I'm like, look, if you want to watch it before you go to school, y'all have to be suited and booted like 45 minutes before we have to leave. Like, your coat have to be on, your shoes have to be on, the dishes have to be done in the sink, breakfast has to be eaten. And so, my son loves competition shows. Like, he's just into it. Like American Ninja Warrior, all of it. Like, he's just into it. And so, for me to be on there, it's a whole nother bag. So he's normally the one. He's the one that's like hooking up the computer to the TV. Like, all right, come on, Mom. I'm ready. It's 6:20. I'm ready. Like, he was really into it. But yeah, it's very real because at the end of the day, nobody handed us scripts walking in the door. The majority of us don't have these long-standing reality careers. that we've, made over the course of the 20 years in reality. I think more than half of us hadn't even been on TV in 15 years.
Wow.
So, if I get another chance at it, you know what I mean? That would be great. Like, I'm not going to, turn that down. Like, those are resources that I can, potentially earn for my family. At the same time, there are a lot of people out here too that have never had a shot at something like this. So, I live my life with, I'm going to jump on whatever's here at this moment. And because I don't know when I'm not going to have my next.
Yes.
So I'm good. I'm good all around, but I would like another shot.
You are the breakout star. You
Yes,
are the breakout star. I'm telling you, you are the breakout star of this season to me. I mean, everyone has done some wonderful things on this season. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. But you are the breakout star. I told you, you're going to end up being the elimination queen because you literally have gone in there twice and just like, look, I ain't got time. And you every time you've done it's almost like nothing, like brush, like Jay-Z said, go on, brush your shoulders. I mean, look, I'm just saying.
Right.
And so you
and doing
are
it for the
playing
big girls
game.
too. Doing it for the big girls
Period.
too. Like,
Look. At the end of it, look, she probably gonna be this big. I'm like, my say she's putting everything into every.
listen,
It's impressive. It's
I'm doing it
impressive.
for those of us that shop at Chico's and Lane Bryant. And you gotta let it out a little bit. Like,
Look,
yeah. Like,
yes.
I remember when we got our uniforms, like I had to like cut and
Mm.
add extra fabric and stitch a little bit.
Yes.
So, because it hit right.
You to me, I know I've probably been struggling with that too. Like, look, I have like extra things happening back here. I mean, this ain't gonna work.
I'm telling you, Vaseline is a beautiful thing, and you
Yes.
gotta, I mean, all the little curves, they
Look,
all that friction.
I can remember when I was younger and I actually was small, like in track. Even then, I was saying, who are these made for? Because they got it going on. I'm over here struggling. I have hips. I'm like 15, 16. So I'm saying I know I would have been in that boat. I was back in that boat. But then that's always been an issue for us too because of our shape is, a little bit different. But I mean, it's all good. You're making it work. You're doing what you got to do for the culture. You're doing what you got to do for yourself, for your family. It's respected. It's respected. Trust. A lot of people are falling in love with you. People who didn't even know you. Look at the comments. They're going back looking at old stuff. I found old clips that it brought back memory. I was posting all over Twitter. Y'all remember this Beast Mode when she slept in a uniform, and all these things. I said I'm telling you, she's one of our heroes, people of color who watched it. Girls, let me say, girls who watched it, because there weren't even a lot of women. But when we watched it, we saw you on the screen. People was upset when you was gone. We couldn't do the whole tweet and all the different things that's now. But if we could, you've been trending for sure. Hashtag it ain't right.
It's a trip. Like, there's just so many when we think about how technology's impacted our world and just put us in this position where we can, just connect with the fans directly. I think, again, this was my one and done. One of my biggest takeaways from this, when Paramount Plus dropped that first episode, I literally had only had social media for 2 weeks. Like, I mean, I had like a personal Facebook page, but I didn't have like I didn't have an Instagram, didn't have a Twitter. Even my Facebook, I didn't use it very often because, you get a little wary of that when you work in situations where, your online persona matters. And I was working at a school at the time, so I had backed up from a lot of social media use. Well, that being said, I set one up, Instagram and a Twitter. And my uncle at the time was, kind of sick, and he's really in the comic books really heavy. And he was the one that like really encouraged me to take that leap, go on the challenge in the first place.
Wow.
So, I chose this name, Ayanna Superhero, on both of those monikers because I feel like many times the superheroes in your life are not the ones that are the most muscular. They're not the ones that, make magic happen in ways that the world will give you a trophy for. But they're the ones who save the day. They come through no matter what. And I was like, yeah, that's how I am for who I ride for. That's how I am for my community. That's how I am for my 4 kids. That's how I am for all my adopted ones. That's how I am in my teacher life. So I'm like, yep, that's Ayanna Superhero. That's what it is. I set that up, and Paramount Plus drops that first episode and the second, and I get these flood of just comments coming into my inbox. I'm a mom of 5, and this is my story, or I'm a mom of one, or I'm pregnant trying to get through, or I'm a grandma and my daughter's on drugs and I'm raising her kids, and I saw you do this thing and it really made my day. And
Wow.
to be somebody that could have easily written one of them letters to somebody
Yes.
who helped me get through a
Yes.
moment.
Wow.
I'm telling you, like the first month after like everything has aired, like this first month, I literally am spending at least an hour or two every single day just doing voice calls, not voice calls, but like little voice messages,
Yes.
just responding to people like, hey, this one lady, she's on her little weight loss kick. She be inboxing me. Yep, I went running today. I went like 3 laps, and I'll be like, yeah, you go, girl.
But you don't understand about that.
Big ass up and go run a little bit too,
I need
like
to be out there myself. I ain't gonna lie. But what you don't understand, about what you just said is so powerful. This is literally what I've been talking about for the past week. That some reality stars will say, "Well, I don't see the I don't see the DMs, and we don't check for them, and we have a lot of DMs." And you have to understand when I hear what you're saying, and remember, I just heard a few days ago. It is. Oh my God, it's crazy, because that just shows who you are, your character. That just because you're on TV doesn't mean you cannot. You said you were responding back and forth with the voice responses on Instagram. You don't understand. For a lot of people, that means so much. So many people get on TV for their first TV show. This ain't your first time. Your first TV show, and act like I'm too busy to talk to you. And it's, I get people change, I get your life changes, but
and they might be, and again, I don't knock anybody for how they have to keep balance in their life. Like, I don't think that every single person that puts themselves out here, because it could be dangerous too. Somebody could catfish me up and all of a sudden, something very dangerous happen as well. Like, I'm not naive to that. At the same time, we got to be authentic to what our walk is. And I know my walk is that 1 year ago to my birthday, Thanksgiving Day, I almost lost my life. Like, I almost was not here to be able to go on a challenge. Like, I mean, a very, very tangible, dangerous way. And, for that to have happened, and then just a few weeks later, get a call for Allstars 1.
What?
And the day that I got the call for Allstars 1 was the day after I got my positive COVID test. And COVID had been running through our whole household, our whole building. And so at that time, I was like, I can't do it. I got COVID. I saw an opportunity that was so close, and I was like, okay, that must not be for me.
Right.
Let me just make it through this COVID. Let me just make it through COVID. Let me make it through maybe not being able to breathe and trying to think through what's going to happen to my children. And then getting through that, and then January, February coming, March coming, April, getting another call, a second call.
Yes.
Who gets that?
Yes.
Who gets that?
Yes.
So I know what my walk is. My walk is, like I said, my walk is not pools in the backyard. My walk is not, I've won challenges and got millions of dollars in the bank, or I live in a fancy, swanky situation. Like, that's not my walk. My walk is, like I said, this is my one and done. And the people who I've talked to so far, I was able to take them from point A to point B on that day. Then I feel like I've done the revolutionary act that I came to do. That's what it is. But like I said, I don't knock anybody else for their walk, but I know what I got to do, because I know I'm very clear about how it feels to be very aware that your life could end at any moment unexpected. So I'm gonna do with my walk. Like I said, I'm gonna do with my dash what I do with my dash. You do what you do with your dash.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I do with my dash. And I mean, if life brings us back together, it's beautiful. If not, that's beautiful too. But that's just what it is. Like I said, if you're a Black blogger, if you a white blogger, Chinese blogger, non-identified, non-gender conforming, non-race, whatever your thing is, you reach out to me. I won't charge you. Just reach out, ask. We'll send it up the pipeline, because like I said, there's people that provided resources for me and mine through this opportunity. I like to keep my word. My word is, you know, they're like, please, let us know if somebody reach out to you, they want to talk to you in a public manner. You are representing our brand. You are representing our show. Let us vet them, because it could be some weirdo like, yeah, I got this
I
blog.
understand that.
And then all of a sudden, my face is on some weird body doing something
I understand
weird.
it.
Like,
Yes, 100%. I
I'm
say
like,
do that.
man, I didn't expect this.
Right. No, so for me, I understood it. They do have to protect you guys and their brand. So for me, I don't even have a problem with that. I just think to even have the opportunity to be vetted, a lot of people would love that. So I'm going to spread that message that you said about the bloggers. I'm gonna spread it as far as I can take it, because one thing I love to do is support other bloggers, regardless of the size and who they are, and of their race, of the gender, all these different things you specified, and that's the way I feel as well. So, regardless of the way you've handled it, it was beautiful. You handled like a queen that you were. So whenever I talk about you, I always say the queen. That's what you have shown myself, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feel that way. And I want to say one last thing to you before I know, because she a mama, y'all, and she got babies and everything. I don't have babies, but she got babies.
Go. You might have to call me later. We could go.
but one of the things I wanted to I know you can't, and I'm not even asking for no spoils or anything, but if they were to ask you to come on another season again, because sometimes they've brought people back for more than one, would you do it again if they called you next year?
Absolutely. My only concerns is that, of course, the welfare and safety of my children. This one was for me, it was easy to do because it was summertime, and, the support system for my young people, it's a lot easier. All parents know to find care when they're out of school and during the summer. But what's for you is for you in life. If listeners, if you don't take away anything from this, what is for you is for you. Do not be afraid of what you don't think you have when considering an opportunity. I remember when I first told somebody, hey, look, they've asked me for this. Can you help out with the kids? That person was like, you really think you could go and do this? And you have 4 kids? And everything was all of this like lack talk. But once I jumped over that person to the next person, she was all like, ooh, this is how we can make it work. And this is how we can make it work. And this is how you can make it work. And here is how I can show up for you. Jump over the first person that tells you you can't do something so that you can reach the one who's going to be the bridge to your new opportunity. Because I've had enough of people telling me what I can't do.
Come on, testimony.
So
that's a testimony, okay, and that's a true statement. Don't let that first no stop you. Yes. So that was my interview with Ayanna, and we built a relationship outside of the challenge franchise. It was an organic connection. You hear her speak how we spoke into existence about her coming on to a new season, and we do a new season coming up. But I wanted to do this deep dive because Ayanna is a lot of things. Okay. She has different reputations from different seasons. And I think that this year, this challenge is going to be like, look, I'm coming through. Period. Get her ready. I'm here. I've been doing this for years. I'm coming through to win. I don't have time for games. That's the Ayanna I think we're going to see this season. Okay. But I really want to do a deep dive and look at some of the interactions I've had with her. So let me go ahead and share my screen. The finale. We're at the end of the season of the All-Stars Challenge, All-Stars 3. The first part of the finale, we left off. Remember, we did getting in their kayaks, the new partners, Mark and Kellyanne, all of a sudden are in first place, bro.
So we're thinking things are going to be turned around. But we know how the challenge goes. Things turn on dime. Brad is rowing, getting down, pissing on Jonay, Naya, and Wes. With Naya and Wes are so far behind they can't even see anybody. So Mark and Kellyanne finished first. Okay. Kayla and Nehemiah second. Jonay and Brad third. And Wes and Naya came last. Now Wes knows that being in last place at any time during the finale could be horrible. But he's not tripping. He been pretty much chill.
Let me say something really quick. So when we were doing this, I remember Ayanna was like hustling. I think sometimes you'll see us in the recaps, she'll be on a bike. Like this girl was coming to my recaps and was working and taking care of them kids. Like she is. I just wanted to come in and say that really quick.
To me this entire season. He's still in first place. Okay. Nehemiah
So
second,
sometimes
Brad in
her
third, and
connection was
Mark
kind of
in last,
crazy.
with Jonay and Kayla coming second, and Naya in third. Now the difference is the points. Getting closer and closer to the checkpoint is
For one thing, I had on mute, so that's why. My bad. Okay.
and then even now I was like, look, you know you're going in the water. Just deal with it. So anyway, that was pretty good to me. Nehemiah and Mark, I love the other team decided to just make one script. So Mark and Naya.
She was struggling.
And Derek Kaczynski and Cyrus. And I mean, you talk about answering a question that I also had on my mind, we see this moment where Johnny says, look, I'll carry 60, you carry 40, and we'll see
Right.
we'll work it out that way. And then it cuts. So Johnny clarifies in the Spotify podcast yesterday, she clarifies that after that moment, Brad says, no, I'll take 60. And he does wind up taking the 60 pounds and she takes the 40, even though we're led to believe that, it was the other way around. So kudos to Brad. Yeah, kudos to Brad. And more so kudos to Janae for, setting the record straight on that.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that as well because even written in a lot of places, big places, they're saying the opposite. So that's interesting. So Nadia and Mark passed Wes and Kayla for the second place. Kelly and Nehemiah finished their first trip and turn around all over again. I felt bad for them. I really did. Especially for Nehemiah, because I was rooting for him this whole season, for the second season in a row. And Mark and Naya make it in one trip, and soon they learned that they are the only team who has made to make two trips. So Mark and Naya finished first. That was everything. I actually really was enjoying seeing Naya make it first place, seeing her just push herself so hard and showing herself to everybody else, baby, I am a contender in this. I can do the challenge. I can kick ass too. Which is what I want Ayanna to do as well.
Well, I think that every time you go on a challenge, you got to bring your backstory to the table. Naya's backstory, is, very layered over the years. And, we get a chance to see her story arc happen with her performances in the final up to this point, because, she literally comes in at, I think, the greatest deficit and winds up, closing that gap very swiftly throughout the competition. So I think that she demonstrates, without any abandon that she came to play and that she deserves to be there.
All right, now we're at the portion where teacher's going to announce the, overnight part of it, the night of torture. But this season, TJ is changing some things up. So instead of going overnight, he decides to say, okay, guys, you guys are going on a yacht. I'm like, what is going on?
Listen, I was sitting back at home watching it. I said, wait a minute. Now, this is where I had to sit back and say, okay, every single person that is there has been on an overnight before. So they weren't skating past the overnight because they've done it before. But it definitely, is a new thing where they get a chance to get this level of comfort on the overnight that wasn't otherwise extended in previous challenges. But we quickly see that what is all sometimes a blessing might be the curse to others, because West catches a little seasickness.
He does. And it wasn't just him that was seasickness. And even West said he didn't want anybody to get a refreshing night of sleep and a decent meal before day 2. He wanted to keep going. And I actually understood what he meant by that. The fact that he wanted to just keep on pushing instead of taking a rest off for a day, because it can really mess up your game if you're too comfortable or whatever. So I understood what he meant. Just push through, get it done, get it over with. But I'm starting to think this might be a good thing to give them a break in between, because some of them I don't think would have made it. All of them, really. I'm sorry. The update producer was like, look, they're not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it. Let's give them a day of rest and something to eat.
Well, I don't know. If you think about it, like some people mentally might not be able to tap into, and when you talk about, again, the challenge, it's going to come in many forms. And if you're the kind of person that thrives off of pushing through, and then somebody jacks up that game plan, then now you have a new challenge. At the same time, there's also this anxiety that, wait a minute, are we being set up? Is the boogeyman gonna come up out, at 2:00 in the morning and push us off the yacht? Is the yacht gonna sink like the Titanic while we're sleeping?
Yes.
So, it's one of those things where you get rest, but you really don't get rest. And that too can be, an elusive, that our idea of knowing what's happening next being this elusive carrot at the end of the tunnel. It's a part of the whole thing. So, it's nice for them to be able to get that moment. But as we see on day 2, it doesn't actually work out in the best interest of every person there.
I want to come on camera and say this. I'm not even in my other office, but it doesn't matter. I want to come on camera and say this, because the next part we have with TJ coming on his ATV, he got to make an entrance. So we found out that Jonay is in first place. Now I want to stop there because I like Jonay. I do. Okay, this is not just because I like Naya as well, or if anyone says because I want to see Ayanna. It's nothing like that. But can we get somebody else to win besides Jonay? Because she's won 2. This is her 3rd one. So she most likely is going to win. The first time was like a fluke. Not a fluke that she couldn't do it, but she won. The second time, okay, she won 2. Why would you bring her back for a 3rd win? I just want somebody else to win. That's all I have to say.
I'm quite sure, as Michael Jordan got his rings, sometimes, somebody else wanted to get a ring, right? At the same time, if you're going to be the greatest of all time, you're going to be the greatest of all time. What I think differentiates this journey for Jonay than from her last 2 exploits, Allstars 1, she's just coming off of having a baby. And so she really pushes through with that,
that was everything. That was
everything. That was everything. And then boom, Allstars 2, she has this partnership with MJ that, that dance that helps her get through. But this Allstars, this was, okay, you don't have MJ. You're playing as an individual and playing as teams intermittently, and you have experience. How do you fare out when all the chips are on the line? And I think that she hands down solidifies her space in challenge history as a GOAT.
I do.
With no more
questions. I agree. There should be no question about it.
I think she needed this win. I think she needed this win.
Look, anybody needed a win. I get it. And look, the next part of this, let me get in this part. The next part of this, I understand. Some people fell off. I'm just going to say that. So Jonay got the 5 points to start off with. Nehemiah would have been in last place, my boy, if he didn't have these extra 5 points. So any leg in the game can always change things. So he dropped somebody. Only Jonay, Naya West, and Nehemiah, top 2 men and women, have created spots on day 2 of the final, which means Brad versus Mark and Kellyanne versus Taylor. compete in the elimination round for the final spots. And it's the last challenge. One that they rely on the memory of a poster in the house, child, where they eat breakfast that probably better than to and gotta remember. I'm like, oh my God. Taylor was struggling. There is a puzzle. 10
And I got
questions.
questions. I got questions because
Okay, well, hold on.
Kayla admitted that she didn't look at that map.
Okay, and this is the second one she's guessed on too. Remember, this is the second one that she's guessed on and got it right.
Let me tell you, I can't wait for your interview with Naya because you see that eyebrow.
Oh, you know, not
you see that Vulcan,
the side eye.
That Vulcan eyebrow, that side eye.
Yes.
You know, I wonder if and again, I can only speculate at this point, but I wonder if she had any kind of access to seeing Kellyanne's board because Kellyanne had studied the map and Kellyanne was struggling. So I'm just like, are we having a part two?
This is interesting
of cheat gate.
This is interesting because I don't care what anybody says. Kayla was standing right there by Naya, and Naya had almost every answer right. The only thing is that Kayla had almost every answer right too. But I told you the last one or two she couldn't get, but Naya had it. And then once she got it, she was in. She was just quicker. So it would not, to me, and but she dragged older women, it would not confuse me at all, make me feel the way anything. We found out, hey, she was staring at Kellyanne because I wanted for Kellyanne. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be plainly clear. I think Kellyanne deserved it. She was sabotaged. I don't care who don't like what I say, because you know my channel, you gotta keep it real. Kellyanne was almost sabotaged this entire season by an entire group of women and still got to the finals. To me, she did. I wanted her to win it. I did. I'm sorry. I had to get that out. So
no. Yeah,
that was frustrating to watch.
I definitely was rooting for Kellyanne as well. She shows us time and time again that when the chips are down, she knows how to pull things out. And so, for her to go home in this way off a crossword puzzle, again, it still leaves me with questions because again, Kayla says repeatedly that she didn't study the map, that she didn't know all the countries, but then all of a sudden you're coming up getting everything spelled right and sat right with hardly any struggle. Now, I get that thing that we only see what we see, but we shall, the truth always comes to light, I think, and if there is a truth to come to light that demonstrates, that there were some nefarious things that went down, and that's what it is. But yeah, I really didn't want Kellyanne to go home. I was rooting for her to cross for a puzzle. I was rooting for Mark. I wanted his mom to see him go all the way, man.
I know. Yeah, that was sad to watch too. So those two, so Mark and Kellyanne had to go off to the sunset. The puzzle they were struggling with the spelling, it was just a whole lot, but they ended up going to the house and like Mark just said, do it, just finish it. Mark just says finish it. Okay. So the rest of the race, TJ says, is the individual race, no more pairs, no more partners. It's just one last race to the yacht. Whoever finishes first wins. But the thing of it is getting to that yacht. Baby, when they get and see this giant scale of 2 pounds of liver, crickets, animal parts, and other unidentified gross and yuckiness, Brad arrives, and here comes the growth. And this is the part I can't deal with, the stomach thing. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. If I ever, the Lord said the same, and I go on the challenge, and I'm saying it, I don't care who hears it. If there's a food portion, I'm going to fail because that stuff. I have a weak stomach. Watching it from the TV, I was sick. I had to literally fast forward it and see who went at the end. I never watched I've never literally sat through and watched the puking thing. I always fast forward through it. So baby, if they call me and I get through the whole thing to the final, I'm literally gonna say I'm done. TJ, get pissed off at me now. I'm not even gonna try. I know I'm going to lose. I'm not eating that shit. I am not. That is disgusting. Was the part where her stuff just completely went, womp. So I'll do another video because I didn't realize we did a few recaps together. Honestly,
And this
Reviews. We here. We here. We in
yes.
here.
Look. It's getting deep.
Told you she got
challenge. Oh,
she got the
something
bike hat
going
on.
Me and Ayanna, we begin on here. Though got something going on. Look, this is the challenge where all these things
Listen.
happen.
When you are a woman in America, it is a challenge. And so you got to be able to spin all of the plates and pick the people up and drop the people off and show up and be there no matter what. And so, you know, like I said, for all of Kamisha viewers and everything, Kamisha has written for me since day one. So I told her, I don't care, neither high nor hair.
Day one.
I'm going to make sure that we get in here. So let's talk about it. Let's go.
And I also want to shout out Ayanna too. The thing about it, she said about me, but she's also a day one because she don't have to do it. She does. So much respect for her every time she does it. So anyway, and the fans love it too. Let's get into Miss Kayla. Now look, Jordan and Beth, they're back to the house. Okay. Kayla is trying to figure out how to use the sabotage. Of course, she calls it a grenade, but you know where she's coming from challenge. So
That's right.
Kellyanne and the whole beef and alliance's connection with Beth, you know, talking about how she don't trust. Now, I don't want to say her name wrong, you know, I always do, I always forget about it. I don't know why. Jonay isn't going to be, she can't trust her. We talked about this last week about the whole, you know, saying stuff, not assuming because they're hanging out. We both talked about this last week. Now, the guys are tripping because of Darrell and Jordan. Like, Jordan took out Darrell. That was unheard of. I didn't expect it, even though, like I said, I got a hit. He was going home when he mentioned about the heights in the beginning of the episode. What are your thoughts? Just getting started.
Listen, you know, that was a meeting of the Titans, truly. You know, anybody could have took that. You know, it could have been Darrell's day. It could have been Jordan's day. Talking about two top contenders, you know, who have historically on the challenge shown and proven their chops. So, you know, let's go ahead and give Sean where Sean is due. You know, Darrell fought a good fight. You know, we talked about it last time. You know, when that leg locks up, you know, that the sciatic nerve is real. You know, folks think that they got it all together, but you know, you tap that sciatic nerve. You know, you tap one of those good nerves, and you're gonna have to sit down. And so, you know, I think that's just what happened. You know, Jordan fought a good fight, so did Darrell. It just wasn't Darrell's day.
Right. And you know, Wes kind of said, you know, look, he told everybody, he said, I told you guys Jordan was just that good. I told you so. Then Wes was like, I'm gonna take over Darrell's spot, which I think is weird he said that, but he wants to take over his spot in the alliance. There's nobody else, there's only one Darrell. So I thought that was kind of whatever. But so look, take that drops this big old bomb on everybody. The authority, instead of it being 6, is now 2, which is gonna be extra stressful. That means only one male, one female winner goes into decides who goes to elimination. That's a lot of power to give 2 people. It's gonna most definitely shake things up. What do you think?
It's kind of like when you ever been on a job and a new company take over your job, and now all of a sudden 2 people got power. It felt like that. You know, it felt like, oh my goodness, I thought I was safe. Just when you thought it was safe, it's gonna get shook up. You know, but that's what it is. It's Allstars 3. It's top contenders, baby. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yes. So they have this, like, I'm not going to say it's a boring game where they got to be throwing the rings and tossing the rings to the star of the player of who they choose. And, you know, the last man or woman standing wins, right? So Kayla picks Beth. Beth picks MJ. Beth isn't really worried about MJ. You know, she knows she's not going to win. And, you know, the majority of the guys are planning to target him to protect Mark. It's crazy how it ends up. So literally giving him the authority. Brad's feeling he's pissed about giving a win to anybody. He really is working hard for this because to me, Brad is coming from this kind of place. I have a hard time at home.
Right.
I lost my job because of COVID. I'm trying to get this money. You guys are playing games. This is real life to me. I respect Brad because of that. He's coming from a different place. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like
I respect Brad for saying it. Because Brad didn't say anything that other people weren't thinking. But Brad just had the cojones to say it. You know, but it's interesting too. I was listening to him, and I don't really listen to the Steve Harvey morning show like that because it coincides with when NPR comes on, and I like Miss Amy Goodman in the morning. But this particular day, you know, I had clicked, and you know, my radio, and Steve Harvey came on, and I mean, he must have been having a moment, or must have been having a day, but he was, you know, real preachy about the fact that he said, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire, I don't care if you're a multi-dollaraire. I'm paraphrasing. But he said,
Yeah.
but when you have your hard times, you have your hard times. Nobody can, you know, nobody can dissuade that. Money can't dissuade that. Money can't bring back when you're going through something. I think that people make an assumption that others are more well off than they are. You know, Brad is really transparent, you know, in this episode that, look, you know, I lost my gig and I'm trying to put my life back together, and I'm trying to go for the big bag, with the understanding that at every moment in the game, I can just go for the big bag myself. Like, I don't have to give away that to anyone else. Now, my question would be for the audience is this. Okay, Brad, you mad that they're throwing the win to Mark. However, if the tables was turned and the group had decided to throw you to win, would you have all this stuff to say?
That's
Me
interesting.
personally, if I had to vote on, you know, what it could or wouldn't be, I don't think Brad would have had as much to say if he had been the one that was chosen. You know, I think that in this regard, you know, it's interesting. When we were on All-Stars 2, Brad pulled me aside and he was talking about gameplay. And me being a somewhat of a novice to the new challenge and gameplay, you know, I didn't take what he said to me. I didn't take it too well, you know.
Right.
Now, after being in a challenge myself, you know, with, you know, the TJ Lavin style challenge, I get what he said to me. You know what I mean? Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. But now I get it. I understand.
Wow.
When you have your own personal game, you got your own personal game. And
Right.
you want that game to trump. And of course, your long-standing relationships, but you want your game to be able to be played without other people manipulating that. At the same time, right? I think that Bradford gets that in this moment. He could have really just gone along with the program and just kind of, you know, held tight
100%.
with his feelings. You know what I mean? And not really put himself on blast, because now, if it's going to be the three of them in a room plus Brad, when I say the three of them, I'm talking Nehemiah, Mark, and Wes. And Brad, they're gonna remember that Brad wasn't really down with the plan. I mean, again, we watched this episode and he tells us all of this information, he meaning Brad, in a confessional. So I'm not all the way clear whether or not in real time they really understood how crazy he felt about that whole circumstance.
But
so
Brad has always been this way, though. He's always been this way. Brad has always represented this way about his game. In every challenge he's ever done, that's what he's always been about. It's always respected Brad.
Yeah, but and I agree with you. I question though how committed you are to that philosophy when it doesn't benefit you, because this definitely benefits Wes's game, and it benefits Mark's game, and it benefits Nehemiah's game. And because Brad wasn't a target, it could have benefited Brad's game too. Just go with the flow. You're not going to be an elimination, but you're not going to get the win. Ergo, the star. I think that Brad got lost in the sauce about not getting a star. He got, you know what I mean? He got lost in the sauce. And, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, again, I congratulate Brad for being, you know, ballsy enough to say what was on his mind. But I think he should have taken a chapter from his own book in this situation and just be like, all right, today's gonna be Mark's day, and just let it be Mark's day. You know what I mean? And continue to slide towards the final with some security. But it is what it is. You know, because again, he goes to try to take it and he don't even get it anyway.
But see, this I'm gonna touch on that, but I want to respond to that. But let me say this. So to keep recapping, and then we're gonna finish that. The men go first, and then MJ, he realizes what's happening. I'm sorry, he realizes what's happening, so he teams up. Jordan teams up with MJ to get at the Brad. I'm like, they're paying tit for tat. But yes, goes for West on his own because Yes is a different type of breed, but NJ's the first one eliminated, and then the guys go for George eliminated next, and then it's Yes. Brad is frustrated because he's not even allowed. Brad is frustrated because he's not even allowed to go for the win without pissing off his allies, and Mark starts walking around not really doing much, but he's guaranteed to win anyway. So for Brad, it's like, okay, I get there's a plan, but at the end of it, he's looking at it like I can still go in because of people who are in power and because how MJ is pissed off at him. So that's a different situation where it's like, I get what everyone said, I get the plan, but to me, it's not the sauce. He's lost in it because he's like, look, I got to look out for myself because you guys are covering each other. That's when he came to West and West like, look, bro, in real life, we brothers. We cool like that. I will fall on the sword to make sure you don't go in because Brad is grinding for more.
Yeah, but you gotta choose when you take the information that you know. Mm-hmm. But I offer this, and I shouldn't even use the word "but" because "but's" not necessary. You take the information that you have about the circumstances that you're in, but then you gotta pick and choose when you reveal that. Like, was this really the right time to get mad at that? I don't know. I probably wouldn't have made that move myself unless the salad was involved. But with no food involved, right. Like I said, I think he, I think we all know that that's my Achilles heel. Some good food or right. other things. But in this regard, I think Brad's competitive nature, I think he tries to justify it by talking about, and please excuse me, audience, as I collect myself. Like I said, I ride for Kamisha, and sometimes that means, how back in the day when you was young, somebody would have a bike and you would trail them, and they would trail you because you only got one bike. Yeah, well, we only got one bus in my house of 5, so sometimes we got to trail the activities and the tasks at hand. But
it's kind of perfect for because you be on a challenge. You on the bike.
Oh, look, I told you that the challenge piece woke me back up. I would love to see another challenge in shape, but even if I never see another challenge, man, my aunt, I have an aunt that just completed this bike ride, a DC bike ride, about a little over, I think it's now 2 months ago now, it's June, but she completed that. And when I saw my aunt, who was an All-American, and do that, and that's on my best friend. She did a 13-mile marathon. I was like, yeah, no matter what happens, Ayanna's gonna get it back. Ayanna's getting it back right now. So, like, I'm remembering all of who I am. So that's why, like I said, I get my gear on. But yeah, like I said, I think in that moment, Brad forgot. He, he says he justifies, him being upset with giving Mark the win with about his why as to why he's here. Well, look, if your why is so important, at the end of the day, even if you think you're going to grab it, it really takes a ballsy person when you got 3 people that are like, this is our plan. And they tell you this is our plan. And you like, you know what? Fuck that plan. I'm going to try to get mine. Then guess what, baby? You better get yours. Because if you don't get yours, now you got 4 people.
Oh, I get it. I agree
like gunning for you.
But I agree with that.
That's a ballsy move.
But do you see what I'm saying when he feels like he put himself in a position where he can get voted home? So anyway, Mark pretty much gets the win. Wes, Derek, and Nehemiah get eliminated, and Brad, gets worried. This is the thing about Brad, and I think if this element wasn't a part of it, I don't think he would have reacted as crazy. And I would probably say with you, he's probably doing too much. But Brad gets worried that MJ will call him out for the elimination opponent.
Oh, because they know that. Okay, I see where you're going with it. So it's like, boom, MJ goes straight to the elimination, and MJ is thinking that it was because of Brad anyway.
Yes.
So Brad gets thrown. So Brad is sitting back like, I got to get this win so that when MJ goes in, he can't choose me. I see you. That's why I rock with you. That's why I rock with you. Okay.
You.
All right.
It clicked in his
head. I acquiesce to that.
In the middle of the challenge, you could tell it clicked in his head like, oh snap! Right when he saw it happening, Then he started going for it. You can watch the episode rewind, and there's a point where he really starts hustling for it because he's worried. It's not like a time when we're able to win or forget the team. He's worried about this. He's worried about that. So instead of giving up, so he said, I started to try to, I put my notes, start fighting for his life. But Mark gets the last ring anyway and wins because everyone helped him throughout the entire challenge. And that's being real.
I agree.
So
I agree.
The women went next, and the treehouse. Now look, the treehouse.
And I'm still here with you.
No, you good. And they start saying treehouse the whole time. Treehouse. I was like, ooh, I ain't never seen that.
Oh my gosh, Ronnie was like, treehouse, don't come for me. Like, look, I'm gonna love you, but don't come for me.
That ring, I said, oh my God. That girl, she is a competitor. Because at first I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was sleeping on her. I was. So the target was Beth was the first victim. Zonay was the only one. I think Ronnie was the one that took her out. Okay. Now Beth is talking mess, saying that she's a cheater. Okay. Kellyanne and Naya get eliminated. The authority has to pick two for the elimination. And those two players get to pick the opponents when they get to the arena. That means everyone has to show up for the elimination in their uniforms because it could be anybody. It could be anybody or anyone.
Right.
This part of the game is crazy because everybody's anxiety is going to be like 10 because everybody has to pack up their stuff. Everybody.
Right.
And you being the treehouse, you being part of whatever is almost irrelevant.
Right.
I just want you guys to see, like, even with her supporting the podcast, it's on her shirt. Like, Ayanna is that girl. You know, she supported my channel for years. Behind the scenes, we have spoken about her career, just her being who she is, who I am. And just the world of being, introducing herself with the whole internet bloggers, really, in that world, and being on the show and how she affected other people. I just, I really enjoy talking to her to this day behind the scenes. And I really wanted to do this deep dive talking about her with the new season coming up, because even in the past, we have seen where Ayanna has been, people went crazy because of her and the whole situation with Jasmine. It's just, I feel her because I'm a woman that feels hard, passionate, will lash out, will go in, if you cross me, but yet be mama bear. It's just a lot. And I just, I get it. Let's get back to it. And I do have another recap with her idea after this. So like I said, this is a deep dive. Talking about Ayanna, the challenge, Allstars 4 is coming up. So we're gonna get into it here, okay?
So it's like what MJ tells Mark, if he gets told to go to the place, he gonna pick Brad. Who is
so okay, yeah. So like, you telling me that Brad's move, he's really thinking of his circumstances. They're not really like concerned because they're like, we not Brad and MJ not mad at me. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think MJ picking Brad, not only is it, it's funny because MJ likes to use this word personal a lot toward other people. Okay. But at the same time, now here it is, your turn to do whatever. And of everybody there, Brad's gonna be the one that you choose to go into the elimination against because of, you feel slighted because he kind of came for you. He was gunning for you a little bit. I'm not surprised that Brad was gunning for him after Allstars 2. It doesn't surprise me. If you really go back to Allstars 2 and you watch the votes right before Brad and Jody go into the elimination, and you watch kind of how things play out, MJ, and again, you got to watch the show. You got to watch it closely because it's not always as explicit, but it's there. People lobby for themselves. And when they lobby for themselves not to go into the elimination, what are they going to do? They're going to say what they say. And they're going to say what they say, how they say it, and it is what it is. So, like I said, it didn't surprise me. Oh shoot, my earbuds came out. Let me take off my little phone. I'm hot.
Well, we already know that the city
We get hot at 43 years old, wearing a helmet for that time that we wear the helmet for. But yeah, man, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But what did you think about MJ kind of being locked in on Brad?
Well, I mean, I knew what it was. You know, this whole episode, it was like MJ and Jonay was kind of going against everybody, and the people they had was targeted. Him with Brad, it was personal. The last two episodes, he kept saying it's personal, and of course with Jonay, it's the situation with Beth with this whole thing. Yet y'all were cheating. Even MJ wants her out of there. So Sylvia knew what it was.
She'll be back.
You know, Beth says she's a little manipulator and she's cheating on her husband MJ, and both of them don't like that. They're kind of pissed. Like you say this on TV, you know we're married or whatever, and you just putting this out there. Now I don't know why Beth would say something like that. I'm not a part of the challenge circle. That I mean, there are circles where you gotta be a part of what people know when they know what they know, and it's like for me, I really hadn't heard anything. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's some deep stuff to say.
Yo, and then okay, I don't know. Again, I cannot separate myself from the tradition upon which I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot separate myself from my African Americanness, my blackness. I can't separate myself. And not that we are all one thing, because we are not all one thing in the African American community. Yes. At the same time, there are just certain rules that are ascribed to our culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that we could agree that when you put your name in somebody else's personal business, especially when it comes, to who and how they lay with and what that means to you, Johnny really, really showed how much of an all-star that she is, because where I'm from, those are fight words. Those are fight words. Like, not only are you talking about my business, but you're bringing my family into it. You bringing my husband. You bringing his kids and his wife. You bringing all of that to this, knowing the fact that many of us that have done reality or whatever, it's been tough. It's not like easy thing, because everybody winds up kind of picking apart and getting in your business and things like that. And so for her to have kept her composure completely, I think also speaks to just who she is as a challenger. I was talking about this yesterday to Johnny Fairplay on the Reality Not Safe for Work podcast. On the Real World Homecoming, Melissa Beck and Tokyo, formerly known as David on the Real World New Orleans, they spoke to, many times as, Black people on reality shows, how we're kind of put in these lanes where, if you react to something in a way that just your average normal person would react to something, you're literally like representing the entire African American race and all of these things that can be really heavy when somebody has put you through the problem to begin with. Again, I don't know Beth's station in life in terms of finances. I don't know Johnny's station in life in terms of finances. I know she won 2 challenges back to.
Like, Ayanna was keeping it real. One of the things that I really rock with Ayanna about is the transparency. I am the type of way when I speak about TV shows, I'm so transparent, and I speak and say things people want to say, and I also say things people are not going to rock with. They think I'm going to go one way, and I'm going to go the opposite way every time. So, with that being said, I like how Ayanna speaks the truth. Which is why I want to do recaps with her to get her opinion by other cast members.
Back, so my assumption is that that's comfortable. But like I said, I was talking about Steve Harvey earlier. You never know where somebody's going through. You never know where they're coming from. You never know, how rickety somebody's connection was, to certain traumas. And so for Beth to kind of play with that, to like make position, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's messy. It's harmful. And I think, it's shameful for real. Because I tend to lean on a very flexible side when it comes to the decisions that married people make. I've never been married myself, not one time. I've been in exclusive relationships, but I've never been married.
Right.
What looks like monogamy to one person may not look like monogamy to another. But that's between all of those people. That's between consenting adults. And unless somebody's crying, sometime the trauma went down or whatever else, that's not your business to judge either way, whether it happened or it didn't happen.
Mama, it's not their business, but look, but let's just be real. I'm gonna be very transparent when I say this. Like, if you know that being close to the individual like that, and this is another, this is a male, you are a female, people are going to say something. So you shouldn't be completely shocked. Now, Beth said it in poor taste, yes. Was it inappropriate?
And it's how she said it. She's like, I don't like her because her morals are low because she's doing this thing.
It was the way she
did that was creating a narrative.
Because
they talk about this during the Real World Homecoming. How many times people that are in spaces of privilege, they will create completely untrue narratives to prop themselves up and to push somebody else down. The other reason why I feel like it was purposefully done in this way is because, and I talked about this on Johnny Fairplay's podcast yesterday. Yo, how many times did Beth get this girl's name wrong? How many times did Beth get Johnny's name wrong? And it's one thing on a podcast. It's one thing that somebody get his name wrong when you got to deal with, all kinds of things, all kinds of names back and forth. But Janae, up to this point, has won 2 All-Stars challenges. And you're on the challenge. You've been living in a still getting her name wrong, and she's corrected you several times. I felt like those were microaggressions. I felt like, literally, Janae could have had bad breath, and she would have been talking about her bad breath. What she was doing is what happens to Black people all the time. I'm not trying to call her racist. I'm just saying what happens to us.
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
They focus on one little thing.
She has a past,
and then they use that to make somebody look like they're 2-dimensional, vilify them, so that they don't have any kind of empathy towards them or sympathy or compassion. And so I think that this time though, it blows up in Beth's face because I don't think nobody in that house is having it. Again, I don't know what MJ and Johnny's business is here, there, or whatever. I could just take what you say to me. Both of them say on this episode that ain't nothing happened.
Right.
So if that's what they say, nothing happened, then ain't nothing happened. And that's where I gotta leave the buck. Me too. All the little chatter and everything like that. Shoot, that's again.
I agree.
MJ ain't saying that she did something to him, and she ain't saying that MJ did something to her. So that's where the buck stops for me.
And the wives and the husband ain't come out and said nothing. And that's what I said to the I talked to a blogger about it. I was like, to be fair, at this point, especially with the show being taped before and we see it later, how we haven't seen a spouse, like a husband, come out and say, if you want to know the tea, or a wife saying, or even a cousin,
or some divorce papers or something. We ain't seen none of that. We haven't seen any of that. So, like I said, and even if we did see some of that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the reason why. People get divorced for all kinds of reasons.
That's true.
People stay together for all kinds of reasons.
But they would speculate and say that to be, it's really not fair. Even if that was not the case, then let's say one of the relationships failed recently or whatever, they're to blame it on that.
Yeah.
Even if they were having problems before they we went to the challenge, they're gonna blame it because for all we know, the challenge may have been a problem on their marriage, not necessarily each other. It could be deeper. It could be so many things. Him being away or her being away. It could have been a lot of things. So they're gonna speculate.
All I know is this, and I can speak to it because it was my experience. I had a chance to meet Johnny's husband and her kids. like 2 weeks ago. And as far as, that meeting was concerned, again, they seem like two, very loving people that were committed to each other. Me personally, like I said, if Ayanna got a vote in the peanut gallery of, is it true or is it untrue? I'm just letting you know, my check is for X, the big red X on untrue. I don't think it's true. I think that they won a competition, and that's it. And me personally, like, again, I'm good for flirting with somebody that might be attached to somebody else or whatever, just off the being silly, just off the personality.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's because somebody flirts with you or whatever else that they're going to cross that line, and if there's some flirty energy between them two or whatever else, that's just what it is. I mean, man, people do worse with less, and they won $500,000 with each other. So come
Real.
on, y'all. That's what I'm just, that's my angle to things.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into Brad gets up in the morning and has the conversation with Wes, okay, to make his feelings known to him because he thinks that he could have won the challenge if Wes didn't make the plan to give the win to Mark. Wes, tells Brad he's willing to do, the elimination to make sure that Brad does not. And if that's what Brad wants, Wes is willing to lose. I mean, he's not willing to lose a friendship because of this game. And I was like tripping because that's his game. Wes will do that because he's come in, he made some strong friendships with him in the past, Nehemiah, and it means something to him to the point where he will go into elimination to make sure that he doesn't go in. Even though he is a troll, and we all know that he is, and it's still a villain. But this right here made me look at him like, okay, that's what's up. What did you think about that? What did you think about the fact that Wes was willing to go in? Wes was willing to go into elimination for his friend because Brad was talking to him that morning.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. What do I think about that? So interesting. Again, we get into this personal versus not personal, which, I struggle with this whole idea that we can use that word personally when we feel like using it. What isn't personal about dropping your entire life to fly off to an undisclosed location in an attempt to do extreme activities and win $500,000? What isn't personal about that? It's all personal. So, for Wes to volunteer to go in, I think that it gives us a couple of things. Number one, we are affirmed on what, again, if you're a fan of the challenge, you already know Wes ain't scared of nobody, period. He's not scared of none of y'all. He truly believes in his mind, and I think very warranted that he has no competition there. And when you can say, I'll go in there and really know that you're not going home, it just speaks to you've already have a vision winner mindset that this is yours. Not one time when I went into an elimination in Allstars 2 was I sitting back like scared I was gonna go home. If anything, I was like, all right, Lord, be with me, be by my side to, if it goes my way, to, have that win. If it doesn't go my way, let me learn a lesson. But it was never like I'm gonna lose and go home. That was never it. So, do I think it was really about Brad and their friendship? That's what they said. So I'm gonna take that for face value. It's not like, okay, if I were to say, oh, I'm gonna do this for my friend that I met on the last time I was on the challenge, that's different than I was the best man in your wedding.
Right.
That's different. That's different. They are truly close personal friends. So there's a whole nother layer to it that I think we do as an audience have to accept, that Wes is like, look, not only do I think I can go in there and I can body anybody they put me against, but you are my friend. Like, and if this is what it takes for me to show you that it ain't that, then that's what it is. Because they're friends, I do think that Wes probably intimately knows, some of the things that Brad's going through. and he knows the truth of it. Like he probably know how real it is. It's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm on my struggle," and it's another thing to be somebody's friend and you just right there in the thick of it, and you know what types of financial or otherwise, what types of mountains you're trying to scale. So I think he wants to see his friend do well, but he also doesn't want to see his friend in any way thinking that he is going to be a source of sabotage. When I say he, I mean Wes. I don't think Wes wants Brad to think that Wes will be a source of why he doesn't get to stay to see this through. So yeah, that's what I got on that.
All right, let's get to the elimination. So when the players get to the arena, Jonay calls out Beth, as we already know already. This is the first time the Jonay's coming so hard like she has. Remember, 2015 in the Battle of the Exes, she lost. And, Wes calls out yes, because he calls out yes. So, he talks a little noise like he's feeling okay because he feel like he's here to nurture his flame and fairness and integrity the best I can, which is what Yes said. TJ was like,
yeah,
I really feel.
Right. I think even DJ kind of had again. I love. Okay, you ever had again? Not to like try to say do you go to church? Because people be like, do you go to church? I'm not even doing that, but I'm going to use the church metaphor because it's a part of my experience, and I hope people can connect with it. There's always that deacon or pastor in a church that when they get mad, they don't really say they're mad. Like they don't call that person out their name. They don't say, I'm angry. They'll say whatever their lean-to phrase is so that they don't say something vile and crazy. And I feel like that's what Yes did in that moment. Right? Yeah. I came in to live with integrity and all of that. I think he was saying that because he was like, this mother. He didn't want to say that.
Yes.
So that was his thing. And I think that he truly does believe everything that he says. I don't think that he's fake. But I think that he's just one of them people that, in that moment, even if he's feeling like, I can't believe this Bama, got me, is about to come for me or whatever. He's gonna say it his way. He's gonna do it his way. He's going to do it in a way that, his kids, his wife, his community can, see him in the light that they're used to seeing him in, even though in this circumstance, it's so surreal and it's, it's dystopian in a way because this ain't the environment that he's normally in. So, it is what it is. This activity though, this I was trying to understand it. So it's standing on a ledge and it's pushing people off the ledge.
They are on it's called knock off. No, it's called knock off. They have these giant pegs to try to knock their opponent off. Whoever is the last one standing, to me, like a little butter. I don't know what devil it was. White little circles. So the women go first, and Jonay comes out. She comes out very hard. Beth looks like she's about to pass out. Jonay is pushing the peg like with all her. I was like, Jonay, coming out. He say, I am not playing. So,
but then we get this whole. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm revealing it.
Beth getting the face and everything. I said, Lord.
Yeah, but then we get this whole thing. I'm sorry, I had to grab the bread box so I could prop this thing up.
Gotcha.
So we working on technology, people. We working on it. I got my bread propping the phone up so I can finish making, of course, some salad.
Look how real Ayanna is. Because Ayanna was going through this whole. Ayanna was going through this whole health throughout the time of us talking and doing interviews and doing recaps. We spoke about it, that she was going through this health journey of working out after she saw herself on the season that I reviewed that she was on. She wanted to go back and change herself. Like her story, her journey has meant so much to me, especially where she is now, currently in her life. And I really wanted to talk about her, especially as the new season of the challenge is getting ready to start, and just that she's just, the things that she is going through. So I do have another recap Oh yeah. Let me go ahead and share the screen so you guys can see it.
Introduce the brand back to 10 like we always do. Make sure you
Yes.
follow her on Instagram if you have not already. Okay. Welcome back again. Of course, you already know my channel, my brand, reality TV Queen, Commission
Okay.
Reviews. You know,
I'm
subscribe,
gonna lie, I've been
and all
saying
these
that.
things.
So I've been saying
Let's
that
go
for a
ahead and get into
minute.
this episode. Last time we
Let's
left off,
go.
it was a big old fight between Nehemiah and Derek because Derek thought that Nehemiah was in the play with. He thought Nehemiah was the weak one. He found out really quickly that that was not the case. What do you think about that, Mama?
Listen, you know, one thing that I learned.
Just doing a quick thing with you guys. Take a few moments and join the membership. Okay. Riding with me also. Cash App. It's a lot of hard work. I have my haters, and for me, it's like the haters make me who I am. Talk about me, 8,000 strong. Goal is 10. Well, actually, the goal is 25 and up, but we hit 10K first, and we keep on pushing. So I don't trip about the comments and everything. You guys don't stop anything. I know everything from reporting, all of it. You guys can come at me with horses. I'm gonna keep on pushing my brand. I'm just gonna keep on pushing. Check out my other channels as well. The brand is expanding and nothing can stop it. So let's keep going with the deep dive. Ayanna, the challenge All-Stars 4 will be coming out in April.
About well, it's funny because you can think you learn something about someone because you're around them, but then life will also demonstrate to you that you never really know, the totality of a person. Well, I remember, when just interacting with Nehemiah and listening to his why. You know, one, it's easy to just rattle off something about, oh, I'm doing this for this or those reasons, but he's been real consistent ever since All Stars 1. There are a lot of people depend upon him, and that drives his push to want to be his best self in all areas of his life, whether that be through starting businesses and ensuring that other people have access to opportunities and work solutions in his hometown and state. um, he's always been real clear about his why. Simultaneously, I think that something that also falls under the radar is that Nehemiah is an extremely hard worker in the off season. He talks about it briefly, but I don't think that people pay attention to that. Or maybe they'll contextualize it in whatever, ideas that they have of what that training looks like. Uh, he's kind of a 360-degree type of training person where he's taking on the mental health, he's taking on the physical and spiritual well-being. So it didn't surprise me that someone would underestimate what they were getting themselves into by selecting him. At the same time, we are nearing the final. So let's look at the men. You have Mark Long, you have Nehemiah, you have Wes, you have Brian. There wouldn't have been one other choice that Derek would have made that could have been an easy contender. So I think, we watch these shows and we are led in a certain direction and to, seeing the story from a certain angle. But I really don't think that, if we're talking about who Derek thought he could be, I think we kind of underestimate what that looks like now that we're at, the very tail end of this journey. All of the guys that have come thus far have shown and proven, not only in the elimination arena, but in their history in the challenge, that they are going to be the ones they're going to be the ones that you have to kind of dig a whole lot deeper than with others that could have been in that position. So, but yeah, assuming that Nehemiah will be easy, I think is a misstep.
Yeah, that was a mistake because what ended up happening was he ended up taking it because Derek kind of struggled, gassed out, as they say, he didn't make it. And he just took it home, and the victory in his face and how he was so victorious in the situation. It was like, oh yeah, I'm the weak one. It was everything. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, look, I'm right there with you. Love Derek. And understanding what you're saying about who was left, I get that as well. But for Nehemiah to see him get this, it was awesome, because that is a hard one there with the pole and everything. It's rough. So,
yeah, when we think of Nehemiah and eliminations in the past, there was Nehemiah against DER, DEREK, Derek from Real World Cancun. You also have Nehemiah versus, and when you see him, Nehemiah versus Tech, not saying that Tech is a weak person by any stretch of the imagination. He demonstrates in Allstars 2 when his feet are put to the fire and elimination that he can come through. At the same time, to have a Nehemiah versus Derek matchup when there's already been a history, we already knew that whatever man was going to walk out of that ring after that pole wrestle, they're going to have earned it. Because you're talking about two fighters, people who fight for what they believe in outside of the game, but also, inside the game, are just strong contenders. So
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I felt like also I'm hoping that after this, whatever beef, non-beef, whatever it is going to not continue. But I'm pretty sure for TV will continue a little bit. But I just feel like this is kind of like the end of all ends, in my opinion. So anyway, let's go
I don't know. I don't know. Like John Brennan says all the time, I ain't done singing yet. One thing about the challenge that Wes repeats over and over again is that there is a certain level of fascination once you've been in one, once you've been in two, that doesn't go anywhere. Some people may, underestimate it and throw it under a rug to say, oh, well, I don't do this anymore. But somewhere deep inside them is a hunger for the fire of being pushed to your limit.
I don't mean the challenge. I mean the beef. I meant the beef between the two of them, not the actual.
No, even still, even in that context,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I guess
it's still going to be that desire, no matter who came out of it.
Right.
The person that maybe it wasn't their day, they're still going to want inside to have their redemption.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess it's not going to die.
Yes,
You won't ever die. Like they could be 99 years old playing shuffleboard, and whoever doesn't win that day look, we meeting up tomorrow. Like literally, how they say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. It's one of those things. I think that people sleep when they're dead. Whether or not that translates into them not being friends outside of the game, that's for those two men to share or not share. I don't know what that looks like because I'm not them.
I don't think it's to me. I don't see it being so heavy where, because of course I'm not there. As you stated, to me it doesn't seem as heavy as we're not friends outside of the game because of this. I didn't get that. To me, for them, it was more of, because some people could just actually, this is a competition and we're competitors and you're my rival in a competition, but it's not personal. It's not that I don't like you outside of this. You're my guy, the one that I know that every time I see you in the competition, I'm going to beat you. And everyone has that even in real life outside of the challenge. So I see it and understand it, what the dynamic actually is, and see it going on in other challenges as well. Because it's good for you too,
it's a unique place to be because, when the Panthers play the Redskins, right, or the Washington Commanders now, the name has been changed. But when the Carolina Panthers play, the Washington Commanders, they understand that when they go out on that field, there are going to be a series of plays that they may encounter. There are going to be certain rules of engagement. They can prepare to have a certain level of understanding about what's going to happen. That's the unique part of the challenge. You can prepare all day, every day, 8 ways. However, there's still no prediction of what that's going to look like, how it's going to go down, and what it's going to be that day for you inside. So one thing that Nehemiah says consistently throughout Allstars 3 is he really talks about going within and being super intentional about setting his mindset. If y'all haven't seen it yet, go back and just watch Nehemiah and his progression through this season and what we're allowed to see in telling his story.
Like the editing.
Over and over and over again. He talks
I have to say about his game that I like about his game in this season, I'm going to say that I'm going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the Queens, who also did their thing. But as far as Nehemiah, I love the way he played this game. We would call this in the Big Brother world like somebody who didn't do anything the whole season but won. And that's where I see Nehemiah as in, and it's something that is not done often because the challenge is such a physical, is known for physical. Like a Big Brother, if you was in the game, they would talk about you and drag you. But there have been contestants who didn't do anything, didn't win anything the whole time, killed, whatever, had a good social game and won. And so to me, Nehemiah is a candidate for that. Now we're at the finals now, obviously. If he gets to the very end or actually wins it, he can pretty much say he did that and say it proudly. Because
I put a pin in there. I would love to see Nehemiah in the Big
I would love that because he been trying to I know, but he been trying to get this win for how long, and he deserves it. I want to see him get this. I want it so bad for him. I really do. This year, I'm like, bro, you got to get it. Let's get to the girls, okay? We got Kellyanne and Caleb. It's like they're playing this the whole entire season. I swear. I think it's going to be a really big fight, but you know, TJ kind of stopped acting all weird when we lost Veronica, and then he started.
But I got a question for you. How real do you think the beef is? When I say real, I don't mean that either one of them are faking.
Right.
But from how Kayla responds with Kellyanne, how we subsequently see Kayla and how she responds throughout the challenge to either working with people or not, she doesn't come across as someone who's quite the team player always. Like I've seen her buying into a team concept when that opportunity suits her. But to be somebody that wasn't going to stir the pot from the break, I just don't see that in her. Because she was saying little, smart aleck comments about aging people. I haven't been able to let that go, Kamisha.
Yeah, she's always been that way. Even when I used to watch her, and the others on the other MTV or whatever channels, whatever. She's always been like that, stuck up. I know everything. I'm so cute, whatever. That's fine. And it's a little annoying. So I really want to see somebody kick her butt. I'm gonna be frank about it. I want to see somebody kick her butt, and I hope that they are over 40. Okay, that's all I say about that.
Pour a little bit of humility tea into that mix. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, please. Somebody, look, honestly, gonna show you what it is, baby. I was doing it before you, and probably gonna do it after the fact. You didn't just start this. It wasn't invented when you got ready to do it. And some people do think that way, unfortunately. So anyway, TJ always doing something. He gonna say, "We lost Veronica," and he starts to say, and Kayla goes, "No." So she said, because Veronica is gone. They already had a DQ that came with the woman. So the elimination is canceled.
Yeah, that's what I kind of my feelers went up, because it wasn't like Kayla went over to Kellyanne and was like, hey, you know what? Look, we get to live another day. We get to conserve some of our energy or possibly not get injured before the final. Like that's if I had to put my money on what someone would say, finding out that they don't have to do an elimination. I've been in that situation before. I would have wanted to see like a sigh of relief, but Kayla, I think she kind of forgot who she was for a second, or maybe she didn't forget. Maybe
they were both of them.
Like she really wanted to fight Kellyanne. Like she wanted to do that pole wrestle.
Right. They were
as bad as I wanted to off the building. Like you would have thought Kellyanne, had stole her man or something at some point because she really wanted that piece of Kellyanne.
She did.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Kayla grows in the game. If she's invited.
He playing with his veterans, and TJ played too much, so he's faking everybody, telling them they're in the final, only to tell them, revealing that they got one more challenge. Right, it starts right now at this moment. I would be like crazy. They gotta get it in, but that's how it is. Look, at this point, to me, this is what the challenge is, baby. This whole entire time, we've been getting ready, getting geared up. When it's time for the final, if you're new to this, it's fire. It's rough. Okay, we haven't even got to the overnight part yet. It's like you gotta be ready for whatever he's gonna throw it to, and you don't know what that is. Okay.
So that was interesting to me because in Allstars 2, we had no idea that the final was coming. Like we literally were at elimination, and they're like, the final begins now. I mean, I had on a dress. Tech had on a summer suit situation. Oh no, he had on like what it was.
He had on like a Bahama shirt or something, like a Hawaiian shirt and some dress pants. None of us knew that the final was going to start right then and there. So for them to kind of get this heads up that the final is going to start tomorrow and y'all have this night to just relax and skinny dip and all that, I don't know. I kind of felt like, oh, but I think this is a good segue into, if we're given the night to rest up before our final starts, what in the world are we going to be doing in our final?
Well, this is the thing about it. When they do this, the challenge that they do with, was it the devices? Second, everything that they're doing to try to get to that last place. The thing I want to talk about is Naya in this situation because
we love Naya.
I was so proud.
Let me tell you, I screamed. So okay, are we jumping into the next day when Nehemiah and Naya are in the workout room?
I'm talking about when they're going to do the final. I want to just get to the final when they have to do what it do. But before we get there, the reason why this episode is called Cheaters, and I want to know what you think about this. Really quick.
Okay. We haven't even. Okay, let's go over that first before we jump into
yes. Now I watched it.
Kamisha.
But I watched it. I watched it twice. I'm telling you, every time. Now I understood what killing me about timing, but every time that girl moved the muscle on certain things, she looked. I feel like Kayla got her own answers, and there was a couple she couldn't get, and she was ahead of Naya. But she only needed one more answer. Naya was behind her a couple of steps. She was right on her heels. So Kayla saw the answer and got it right.
Anyway, so okay, like I said, now Salad Ayanna gonna come out. So Naya confronts her. She says, "Wait a minute, you cheated, and I don't like that. I know exactly how to feel about that. I don't like it, and I'm pissed." And so Naya confronts her on that. In that moment, I pause my screen and I'm like, "Do. What are you gonna do? Are you going to? You are a finalist. This is not your first ride at the rodeo,
right?
Are you going to own what you did and move on, or are you going to double down on you not doing it and give us this pity party and expect us to feel sorry for you, like people do all the time when they get caught, with their hands dirty?" We see her. I didn't really do it. I'm sorry you feel that way. Hope we can still be friends. That comes off as inauthentic. I would have liked to see Kayla just own it. Like, look, I want to go to the final. I got nervous. I looked at your shit. Like, how can I make it better? Now, maybe she was afraid to say that because, maybe she didn't feel like disqualified or whatever. So she maybe have been playing that angle. At the same token, if we're talking about going into the final, with three other women. Well, at that time there would have been two other women. That could have been an opportunity for Kayla to look at her and be like, "Look, I did that shit. I'm sorry. We need to make an alliance. It needs to be me and you against Johnny and Kellyanne." And the reason why I say it is this: even though the final is fought as individuals, there are moments where if you have an alliance with somebody and they help you out, you can say, "Hey, look, I'd rather be going me and you going for the big bag than me, you, Johnny, Kellyanne. So how are we going to make sure that no matter what is thrown at us, you and I, to a point, have each other's backs?"
Yes.
So we're fighting against each other at the end, not fighting against somebody else. That was a missed moment because she could have owned up to what she did. And at the very least of things, respected Naya as a smart person. Like when you do something and then you say you didn't do it at all, you disrespect the fact that Naya is a thinking, moving, analytical person, her damn self. So, maybe Kayla is too young to have had that life experience to know that, you can't just disrespect someone's intelligence when they found you out. But we'll see how this plays out in the final.
I mean, even though she confronted her and I understood what she was saying, but at the same time, I like what she said. I remember what happened to me before. And she says, "I just don't want that to happen to me again." Where I can remember, and I almost forgot, where she got sent home. Yeah, it's
Right.
like
Losing her cool. But it's so crazy. Like, why is it that we get sent home for losing our cool, but other people can just do overtly, wrong type stuff and still get to stay? I think I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah, I've had many. I've had many of rants live about that on about Big Brother and other shows as well. But let's get to the stars and what they finally actually mean. The stars only count for one man and one woman, which so Nehemiah and Jonay each start the final with 5 points each. Everyone else they get oh my freaking nose. I'm gonna write what my nose is at.
Yeah, everybody else has to go in order.
Yes. So for me, doing this whole situation, in the beginning, I was like, okay, because Naya, she's at the end, but I was rooting so hard for Naya. I don't know. I just wanted to see her win. What did you think about it? I really just wanted her to win, no matter what.
Well, I'm a Naya fan. We don't have any, there's no smoke and mirrors around that piece. What I like about Naya is that you don't see her like when she sheds tears. I don't say that they're real tears because all tears are real, right?
Right.
However, she doesn't indiscriminately cry. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just cry, whatever. They'll cry to put a period at the end of a sentence. But Naya used that moment, to push her, to make her stronger, to be more focused on, hey, I'm in this final. I want to make it to the end and I want to win. I think it's, again, we get to this moment where Naya and Nehemiah are in this workout room. And again, if you haven't seen it yet, when that part comes up, make sure that your kids are in the other room and make sure that you don't have any distractions. Listen closely to not only what Naya says, but to what Nehemiah says in response to her. And the look on Naya's face, like you could really see her digging deep into her athletic self, into her the self that y'all don't really get a chance to see all the time. The person who can ground and plant those feet and do what needs to get done. So again, I don't want to ruin too much. If you haven't seen it yet, go when you watch this episode, key in on the moment that Nehemiah and Naya are in the workout room. Literally, I recorded it with my cell phone, and I just have a little audio from that part. And I'm gonna use that when I go running tomorrow. I'm gonna just play that over and over and over and over again like a mantra. Because again, these are the very simple moments, the very little moments, but not so simple moments that can just transform your mindset. What Naya does, what we see Nehemiah able to execute all the way up to the point in this season is having a very focused mindset. So, as far as I'm concerned, even if they threw some helicopter water heights on Naya in the final, that we would see a whole nother Naya. I don't know if it's going to get to that part at this point in the episode, but I just really see some of those layers coming off, and we're really getting to see a part of her core. Wes, conversation with Kellyanne. Did you peep that?
Yes. Yes.
What'd you think?
I don't know. I have like mixed emotions about the two of them. The thing about it was Mark. I almost like, Mark, did you like do all this to get here and somebody else?
Yeah.
What do you see him going? I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. I know he's the man. He's like, been here and all that. But how many people do we know that could want to be in that position that is not there? What do you? I mean, just be real.
Well, I'll say this. When Wes and Kellyanne are sitting down on the couch, and Wes makes this nice, nasty comment to Kellyanne, right? Where he gives her a compliment, but then he throws a little bit of vinegar on the compliment. And Kellyanne has this face that as a woman and as somebody that's had to deal with exes, I felt her in that moment. Like, if there was a moment that you see somebody's face and you're just like, damn, am I looking in the mirror? I felt like I was looking in the mirror at Kellyanne in that moment when Wes says this comment to her. Again, I don't want to ruin it for any of you that haven't seen it yet, but peep it out. It's like this nice, nasty comment. And he's so matter of fact that we don't really know whether or not he's being nice, nasty intentionally, or if he's just really how he feels and he just has no filter. I would say
exactly what did he say verbatim? Because I mean, we're doing reviews and recaps, so we're talking about shows we've already seen, or it's kind of is spoilers. So it doesn't matter.
All right, well, look, y'all push pause if you didn't watch it yet. If you just tuned in to hear Kamisha's melodious voice and to see myself. But if you haven't watched it yet, push pause now and then you come back. Okay, now I'm gonna say it. So Wes gives her this compliment, and in the middle of the compliment, he says, but you're really annoying, or you're annoying me.
Oh yeah. I did see that.
Face shifts. Like at first, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a moment to have. I'm gonna give you some time, right, and attention, you Wes." And she's just sitting there in her peace. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm so glad we were able to come together." He says all this nice stuff, and in the middle of it, he throws the vinegar right there on top of the cupcake. And Kellyanne's face is like, right. And I felt her in that moment because I had an ex once that he would say the sweetest things, but he could never say something nice without getting just a little jab in there, just saying something dark or something mean or something to just mess it all up. And I started realizing that some people, not all, and I'm not saying this is what Wes was doing, but some people do that because they're trying to start something. Like they want to be starting something, like that song by Michael Jackson. Yes. They want to be starting something. And then that gives them a reason to be able to go back and say, well, all I said was I gave her a compliment and then I was honest. I didn't do anything to make her uncomfortable, or what I mean? It's like a little manipulation thing, like a little passive aggressive jab, right?
Yes.
But when you see that somebody knows how to kind of handle one of those people, it's like poker face. Oh, you think my dress is really nice, but the shirt,
nice, nasty, yes.
Right. Like the doo-doo brown color of my shirt.
Girl.
Right. Like people that do things like that, folks that have kind of mastered the ability to deflect those kinds of folks, they can just keep their poker face and keep it moving, not give a reaction. However, for those of us that maybe vacillate between mastering it and not, our face will tell you everything. We'll be like, what? And then we get to make the decision whether or not to talk about it or to have it change the mood or whatever else. We don't know if Kellyanne changes the mood or not, because it then cuts to another sequence in the show. But when I saw her face,
the bites.
Now look, her face, I was like, mm-hmm.
Speaking of Mark on the bike, remember Mark, he falls behind. This is the king. You get all the way to here, and there's no shade because this stuff happens to us all. But he falls behind.
We're jumping into the final now, right?
We're in the final. Look, that's the meat and potatoes. I want to get to the final. We're in the final. I want to
okay. We are of the final. It is the beginning. Okay, we're not going all the way back to. Okay, so yeah, we're in the final. Nehemiah and Johnny in the lead. Mark is falling behind. We also see Naya fall behind a little bit, but it's interesting different takes, because Wes takes this take with Johnny, like, look, I'm gonna motivate her. She don't think she want to be married to me if she don't already think that she want to be married to me. Oh gosh, he has an ego the size of Idaho, but or maybe.
But hold on, but check this out. So the puzzle memory challenge, everyone is tripping. But Naya realizes she only needs to remember the bottom points of each star rather than the entire thing. Wes is the first one to get the 4-digit code and finishes first. Mark gets 0. Naya gets the code next, which means Kellyanne loses another checkpoint. Yeah. Nehemiah and Brad, they both get the codes wrong. They both get them wrong.
And the memory puzzle.
Jonay gets hers right, of course. And Kayla, people say Jonay is a conspiracy because she's getting everything. Finally, Brad gets his code and leaves Nehemiah with 0. Jonay is still in first for the women. Naya is in second. Kayla is in third, and Kellyanne is in last. For the men, Wes has passed Nehemiah for first, Brad in third, and Mark in last place. So now remember that they've changed the pairs up. So then we got Nehemiah, Kayla, Brad, and Jonay, Mark, Kellyanne, and Naya and Wes. They got to run, and this nigga got to do the kayaks. Okay, there we go, the kayaks. So TJ says
they gotta build the raft first.
Yes, right. Okay. That to me was crazy. I mean, I really did not know I want to get into Nia real quick because it's crazy when she gets into the lead. The races, Jonay, Nia, and Kayla for the women.
But you know, this is the second time that Johnny and Water go weird in this season. Because remember, Johnny had an issue before when she was swimming, you know, after she jumped out the helicopter. And she's swimming and swimming and swimming, and she swims like way past. So it's interesting that this happens again because Johnny also struggles in this particular competition with the raft situation. So we really don't know whose game this is going to be. Like, even though
we don't know. We're at a point right now in this show that we do not know who's going to do because the points have changed. I think Nia at the time was at like 16 and Kayla had 18. So it's close. It's like a couple of points off. So in my opinion, they slept on Nia. Let me say that, period. They slept on my girl. They thought, oh, Nia, every time but she has proven more than one time, just like Nehemiah, that the Phoenix has risen again. Okay, and it's on everybody. My light is too bright.
Wait a minute. Wes makes a good point though. What was Nehemiah doing with the paddle? I mean, it worked.
That was crazy, bro.
But what was he doing with the little handle in? I was sitting there like, maybe it's just real hot outside because I didn't understand it.
He was using all his muscles because the other part of the paddle had nothing, which means he literally had to make a current with the other side, and that took every muscle, and I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he did it.
Wrong.
That's what's like, like, what is he doing? My man, what is he doing? Oh my God. You ever had one of those moments with your friends where you just being like, I'm best friend. Don't do that, best friend.
Well, look, we're gonna stop it here because what we got next is the last part. Now, look, I want you guys to drop in the comments for me. Who do you think gonna take this home? Now, be realistic. Drop in the comments. Who do you think is gonna take this home? We got other parts we got coming up. Okay, remember these guys are going for the big one, and we're also be covering Channel USA that comes on the day after my birthday, which is Tuesday. My birthday's on the 5th, which is I think it's Wednesday, I think it comes on. And we're gonna cover it here on Commissioner Reviews channel. Now, I usually don't use myself. I usually have the camera off, but I show myself on camera a lot. Y'all see me a whole lot, but this is one where I do like my podcast.
Okay, so I found a few others. Let me go to that one. Like, I really enjoyed doing commentary with her. Allow me to share the screen here.
We are back again. Oh, snap, my bad, y'all. Happened background.
We are back again. Oh no, this is episode 8.
With my girl to my right, on my left, however y'all see it on the screen. We are back with we almost to the end of this, y'all, but let's just jump right in. Now we know that Nia is upset and mad because her man went to the crib. Mark took another one down.
Oh Lord, it was some good commentary.
Yeah, man. But you know, Jordan gave a good fight, and we leave the last episode really seeing not only how much of a fighter reaffirmed that Jordan.
Let me just say Jordan and Nia together was like something that I really really wanted to see, and I don't know, I really wanted that to happen, but anyway,
but there's a mutual respect between both Jordan and Mark, and we don't I don't think we leave with any bad blood between them.
I agree with that. Nia's pretty toe up about it. That was like her right hand, her motivation, her muse. She's feeling pretty messed up since Jordan is gone, and she was talking to me and Maya, which I thought was pretty cool. But she seemed so down, even when he was trying to say, it's gonna be good. But I was like looking at her like, no.
Yeah, it was like somebody turned the volume down on her motivation. It was like, ew. Like, you know how you're in a car and you go from stereo to mono? Yeah, that's how I felt. When her baby gone, she went from surround sound to a Bluetooth speaker in the bag.
Look, I mean, it was tore up from the floor, but I feel bad for her too. But I was just saying, girl just get in the game. You do. He even said it's your time. Do it for him, if anything. So TJ gets some more news for everybody that
Wait a
can
minute.
use.
That's the clue. She's been doing it for him from the start.
Yes. And check this out. When he says your time, to me, at the end, I hope she gets this. I mean, I'm not sure how when y'all get to see the playback stuff like that, but I hope she sees that part when he says it's your time, because even when she was on the show, it's like her confidence was down. I remember I loved her and thought she was everything, fearless, but then she had this,
To look at and you're like, don't you realize how awesome you are?
Yes,
yeah, that whole. But that's growth. That's growth. Sometimes we have to step into our confidence, and when we do, there's a certain level of compassion that you're able to exhibit towards others because you've been there and you can relate to it. You don't just inflate yourself beyond knowing where you came from. So it's all a part of the walk.
And I don't mean the physical part. I mean just the other stuff, like just the way, even when she was competing, stuff she didn't know she even had in her. Anyway, TJ comes through and tells everybody that Veronica, she failed or whatever, she messed up. So it was pretty bruised up and everything. I was like, well, and
what's going on with the toe action in the All-Stars though? Because I looked and her toe looked like she had some kind of, I don't know, some gangrene or something. But
oh no,
she fell down the stair. She had missed the bottom stair.
She skipped a couple of stairs, and I've done it before, just simply walking, even outside, and skipped a step and messed up myself pretty bad. So to me, when she said it, I believe that really.
No, I definitely believe her. And the thing is, what had me believe her, I mean, first off, the toe looked crazy.
It did.
But what really had me believe, like, all the way down deep, because sometimes when people get hurt, they're relieved because it's like, okay, I get to go home on an injury versus going home on, somebody taking me out. You could really, and this is how I know that she's a champion, right? She's a challenge champion. If you saw, watch closely, y'all. Go back to that episode when TJ says those words that I don't expected him to say. This ends your time at All-Stars. Watch how her face changed.
Yes, he didn't want to say it.
Normally has poker face, when it comes to all sorts of things, whether it's humor, whether it's being shady, whatever else. She maintains somewhat of a poker face. You can't always read exactly what's on her mind. But in that moment that he said, this ends your time at All-Stars, for me, I felt like I was looking at a champion being bridled. Somebody being kept from doing what they want to do.
Yes.
And it just tells me a lot about who she is at this stage in her life, or maybe who she always has been since, being a 3-time champ, even from back in the day. She wanted it. She broken toe. She probably would have cut that sucker off and kept it moving with 9 if they let her.
I guess because she had been drinking, but I was like, oh, I've really been mad. If it's something but it is.
I don't know. I think that might be more rumor than anything, but
I mean, they all were drinking and celebrating. I mean, people have stories, myself included, where you falling down, accidental falling down because you stumbled a bit or because you had some alcohol. I don't think
I never knew her. I mean, mind you, I don't. Again, we had our own little thing, so I wasn't in her circle. All I can do is speak to what I know. I never knew her to be a sloppy, fall down, out of control type of drinking.
Oh no! What I'm trying to say, look at this.
That wasn't my like walk up her, and I hadn't heard anything like that about her in her adult life. So how sometimes you can just fall. I think she just fell, and maybe she happened to have a beverage or two before or after.
That's what I meant. That's what I'm trying to say. Like that. Not like she was drunk. Like even she would have had like a half a glass. If she's a light drinker, especially like you say, she could drink a half a glass of wine and feel so tipsy where she feels like she might fall over. I only know about this.
I'll say this. Have you ever been to somebody else's house walking down some stairs that you're not used to? Because, you're talking about they're out the country. And even though this is a beautiful home, standards all around the world are just not the same. And like when I got off the train the other day, the conductor said, you've arrived, Amtrak Penn Station, New York City. When you get off the train, the stairs are not normal. The first step is 10 inches and the second step is 13. Don't carry your bag in front of you. I think maybe this was a case of, maybe she was tired just, again, they've been in the game for a while now. We're getting close to the final. So, it's late at night. These aren't your home steps. So I think she just fell, made a mistake. And,
Look,
again,
and
it
reason why
showed me another side of her, watching her face when TJ said those
because
words.
she cried.
Yeah.
She cried. And like I say, I failed, and I'm just no lie. I failed about 3 weeks ago. We did a live, I'm recording here in my backyard. We recorded whatever. And then I was walking because I was barbecuing at the same time, and I'll never forget it. I had barely took 2 sips of beer that day, so I hadn't even drinking. I was so busy, And so I stepped outside on the phone doing too much. A simple step, it wasn't even a high step. Because the way I slipped off the side of the slipper, my entire foot was swollen for about 2 weeks, and I could hardly walk on it. And I barely did anything. I walked down the stairs every day.
And when we get older, our feet are sensitive to things.
I was messed up, girl.
You remember back in the day, though, the old ladies, the old women, when they they would soak their feet in Epsom salt, or put liniment on it, or massage their feet. As we get older, our feet and our hands, they're at those extremities of our bodies. And I'm not any kind of podiatrist or orthopedic surgeon, whatever you call the doctors that deal with this kind of stuff. So don't take my advice as medical advice. But I remember I dropped a can. I was in the kitchen. I dropped a can on my foot out of nowhere, and my foot was black for about, not my whole foot, but the part where the can, it was bruised. It was black and blue for at least 3-4 weeks. And I was thinking, I'm like, that didn't even hurt that much at the time, but I felt sore from it for a while. And on how she fell, it's one of those things about the challenge that we don't always get into, but it happens every single challenge, whether it's, Casey's pregnancy, or Jimmy having to go home and take care of her father, or Veronica falling on, her foot and having a misstep. It's, you just never know what's going to happen. You just never know. I hope it's not the last. I mean, TJ tells us in the episode that he and it's not the last time that we think we're gonna see Veronica. And so y'all viewers, y'all say she ain't done singing yet.
No, I don't think. I just think they want to make sure she's safe, because these things can turn something worse. So this challenge is played, and one male, one female per round. They have to lean out of a helicopter to look down and memorize a color pattern floating in the water below. Once the helicopter gets to the drop, the people, they gotta jump out, put the puzzle together in the water, whatever, and then hit the button, whatever, to recreate the pattern. Whoever gets it done the fastest wins. They gotta tell DJ is done it, check it. So Veronica had the 1 star. So the women are competing, because whoever wins this one gets her star, bro.
Yep, they get her star too. Whoever wins this one gets her star, and then whoever goes into elimination are going to get, potentially, there's a potential to not only get the person that they defeat stars, but also get that extra star. Now, I don't know, how we progress in the episode, whether or not both the women and the men go in elimination, but we'll see that soon.
So Mark and Kelly go first, Kellyanne. And of course, she gets down quicker. Mark, gets to the station and finishes puzzle first. They both hyped up by everything they did. I understand why they were, because what they were doing was some stuff that Kellyanne was like, I really hope it's me, because the girl that got this thing was with the treehouse.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Derek and Kayla go next, and Kayla, to me, I felt like in this episode just didn't gave up, or I don't know if you didn't notice it or not. I just felt like she wasn't there for it. I don't know, because her girl went to the house.
What I got was definitely notes of that. I think that there are some challenges that are put in front of you where, because it's like multi-layered, you have the puzzle, you have the swimming, and you have the heights. I think that one of those pieces for her was causing her great anxiety. You know, they weren't just swimming the length of the pool. That was a long distance, you know, and we start to see that later as we move through this activity that, you know, that's not an easy swim. I mean, to me, it looked like at least 2 pool lanes. Now Caleb doesn't come off as being a terrible swimmer. Maybe that wasn't her hang up, but you could be a great swimmer, but not a great distance swimmer, you know.
But she
That's
couldn't
what a
remember
lot
the
of
colors. She couldn't remember the colors where she struggled at because they're deadheads and she couldn't really remember.
Yeah, I think I threw her off because I mean, that's what I was getting in her face was just anxiety, period. You know, because you could look at something and be like, "Oh, this part's gonna be simple. I'm not gonna have to think about that." When you get the moment, it ain't as easy as you thought it was gonna be, and now you hung up, you locked. So, I mean, I don't know. I might be completely off, but that's how as a viewer, that's what I got.
I think she was more thrown off by the puzzle than the hype because she just did that crazy hype, the mad program over that water. It was way, way high. I just think she was tripping because her friend was gone. She couldn't remember the puzzle. She was just tripping to me. So Western Jonay goes next.
She's having some brain fog.
She was. I mean, to me, I would have been struggling with the airplane and that water when it did last time. I ain't gonna front. Jonay, she gets down there and she gets to the puzzle station. Now she gets her puzzle done, and West was like surprised. It's like he's still surprised because I know at one point in time she struggled a lot, and she did in a lot of the competitions. But them days long gone where she didn't want the child and everything. Get over yourself, bro.
I'm telling you, there's an app for it.
It's done.
She done gone home and like, look, I'm a practice. I'm gonna get my ish together.
Naya and Brad went up. Now look, I'm gonna say this. Now look, oh God, okay. I understand that Naya was upset about Jordan going home. I get it. And like I said when I tweeted earlier, I was like, look, I respect her. And because she's a Black woman, to see a Black woman get through these competitions for watching these for years. I'm not trying to see you have everybody in your back, mama, but damn. I just
let me tell you what I was
hold on, let me just say this. I wanted her to finish this. And of course, I'm gonna preface this by saying, no, I'm not in her position. No, I can't. I probably couldn't do any of it. I'm gonna say that. But it's always they say we can't do those type of challenges. It's almost like, when am I going to see? Or are you going to put anybody who's going to do these things? I don't know. Ronnie may have gone that far, but I always been watching channels for over 20 years. And it seems like over the last 15 years, this has been an argument with a lot of content creators. We don't see us. Look what happened to Rhea recently. It's like we're scared of.
Let's clock back.
Okay, go ahead.
I had to say that. Who is not African American, who was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not jumping off a building. So I think that sometimes as women, we're kind of hold ourselves to an unreasonable, this idea of standard, because, you know, I think that if Ronnie, I always say Ronnie because in my brain, I'm thinking of macaroni. Right. And it's stuck. But Ronnie, I think Ronnie would have beasted that. I would have too. We would have been like, woo, let's go. At the same time, that wasn't the fear that needed to be faced. I'll offer this. I'm gonna come from a whole different angle. We know that Naya is not afraid of water. We also know that Naya is not afraid of heights because she's an airline flight, commercial. She's not commercial, excuse me. She is a luxury elite flight a flight attendant on luxury airplanes. Okay. We know she's afraid of heights. But think about life. You could take two things that you're not afraid of, but when you put them together in a certain way, it changes things. She may not be afraid of heights and might not be afraid of water, but when you're talking about a crashing plane or jumping out of a plane, we may have encountered a phobia that, you know what I mean, we never knew about. I know that Kamisha, when you're on a plane and the turbulence starts, in my mind, because the first time I ever saw somebody on a plane, in my conscious mind, was I watching the Twilight Zone and the little monster.
Me too. Stop it.
Remember that? Yeah, he was ripping up the wings.
Yeah, my mama gave me Twilight Zone. Yes.
And they're like,
Yeah.
It's something out there. And they were
Yes.
like, "There's something out there, you crazy." And if then the plane
One woman show.
yes. Maybe we unraveled the onion in the wrong place, and then the tears came out. She may have a fear of crashing that we don't know about. And so
I understand. I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that her not doing it. To me, I feel like
seen her like
if you go on these shows, if you sign up for these shows, anybody who know me know I just keep it 100%. If you go on these shows, you can't tell me that you do not know there are going to be chances that you're going to jump in the water, eat something nasty, jump out of a helicopter or a plane. I'm sorry. I feel bad for her, but I feel like even when Bailey did it, and I love Bailey, she's have a baby on the way with her and Swaggy. I was like, bro, why did you get on there? Y'all were gonna just stop. Why? And
I think maybe she thought she could talk herself into it. You know, how many times in life do you get real close to something that you're scared of because you pull on your resilience, you pull on something deep inside you, and you're like, but for whatever reason, when you get to the line, it is not enough to push you over. I think that and maybe she encountered an unrealized fear. Because it's one thing to think to yourself, okay, I'm going to get in the helicopter, I'm going to sit on the side of it with a bungee cord only tied to me, because that's the part that I think maybe had her wigged out. Normally, if you jump out of a plane, you can stabilize yourself by holding on to the sides of the door. And you can have your feet planted on, the floor of the plane. Embrace yourself. The brilliant minds around a challenge, they took that part out, the bracing yourself part. They were balancing on the edge of a leg of a helicopter with a bungee cord attached to their back, having to balance on that thing before being dropped. That's different. It's maybe subtle, but it's different.
Ayanna, I get it. Look, this is the thing. I am not discounting her feelings. I hope that whoever listens to this, even if she hears this, I'm not discounting her feelings.
Right.
What I'm saying is, and I look at this because to be a blogger, I have to look at things from every angle, not just a Black woman's angle. I look at from a woman's angle. I look at it from a fan's angle, whatever. Somebody who's been championed for you as a fan, let's go from that angle for a long period of time and watch you go through so many different these things and journey to happy to see you graduated from real world or whatever to the challenge, and to see you compete, to see you how you grew with Jordan. People are fascinated with that story. Then to see you on here, he's saying it's your time, and they want to see you do what you do. It's a story that I'm going to plan on putting together at the end of this. But I'm just being honest and saying my piece, how I feel about it, how everybody probably feels about it somewhat. I still love her, think she's awesome, and think that she's very strong. And I see the preview, she's going to be in the finals. Of course, you see she's going to be in the finals. And so I'm super happy and proud of that. I'm speaking on this instance, and I just do that. Just if you listen to me now, Mama, this is how I
I think she has a great chance of making it to the final too. But I'll tell you this, I think that sometimes we have these internal that until that thing has been pulled, we may not even know that we got it. And I look forward to seeing her talk about it. I might reach out to her and maybe try to connect the dots between you two. But I would love to have her talk about, from her perspective, what was happening.
I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it, because like I said earlier, I wasn't there. I said it for anybody on the challenge. I tell other bloggers this too. We can give our piece or whatever, even do my big brothers, the same thing. But we're not in the house. We can say what we would do if we was there. That's just something I think back. If I was ever called Big Brother, because everybody wants to be Big Brother one day. If they ever called me, I say a lot of stuff online. I said, but I don't know how I would actually feel in the house. Cameras are rolling, and I'm there for 3 months and got to figure it out. So I say that all the time.
Eventually, you forget about it. Eventually, you get used to them. You forget about them, and you're living your life. And I think that moment we get to see, for all the people that think that the shows are scripted or anything like that, this is one of those moments where I think that the litmus test is in front of all of you. You can't script something like that. Not the way she was crying. I think that triggered something, and I would love to hear her talk about it, even if she may not want to disclose if it's something that's traumatic.
I was hurting for it. I'm not gonna lie. I was hurting for it because I know that she wanted to be there, and I think I
don't think it was just about. I do think that you hit on something though that it's starting to sink in a little bit. I don't think it was just about the activity. I think something else was happening too, because she had that I'm triggered cry, like
So
Michael Myers don't stab me again type cry.
Like, look, this is really, but yeah, but I'm trying to be. Anyway, I came with you.
I love you, Daya.
Anyway, let's wrap it up here. TJ's, let's get to here. So 2 guys got the puzzle right, which is Mark and Derek. Okay, Derek is killing it. He is not known for puzzles. Let's be real, Derek. Listen to it. I love you, baby. But you know you're not known for puzzles. But you're killing it this season. Okay, he turned to the king of the puzzles at this point. Okay, he's giving that. Okay, Mark got them faster though, because Mark is the king.
Right.
So anyway, the 2 women, oh my gosh, Jonay and Kellyanne. Kellyanne got it done faster, but she flipped it like on the wrong side, which means Jonay wins it for the women.
Yeah, the line wasn't 90 degrees somewhere. And I need to go back and watch it again, because when
I was
like, my face looked like Kellyanne's face, like, y'all really gonna be that petty?
Like, yes, I feel like they didn't want Kellyanne to win. I don't know why. I feel like they didn't want Kellyanne to win that, because she was in a hurry. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah, I got a side eye. I have an audience side eye. Matter of fact, for our next one, I'm gonna point out 2 eyeballs that's looking left.
Yeah, let's go.
They're all chinky, can't really see.
I'll give you that overlay. I'll give you that overlay. When you want to show it, I'll put it up.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
I can't see sideways.
Mm-hmm. I said I will get you that overlay and put it up here. If you want to put it up here, let me know and I'll put it up. What kind you want.
I give a side eye.
Okay, let me find.
Not winning that one, because the explanation was funny. It's not at 90 degrees. I'm like, but go ahead.
This is the part where everybody just they're all trying to talk to try to figure out what they're gonna do, strategize, who going in, not going in. And to me, at the end of the day, even though I have to admit and give it to Wes, talking to Nehemiah and his boys, trying to keep them out of the line of fire, because Wes was thinking him and Derek gonna have this powwow, this hoedown, drag out thing. But I'm like, he thinks it's peace.
Wes wanted to go get them stars.
He did, but he also
this man. He's like, wait a minute.
It was a double for
me. All I have to do is push myself to my limits, and I'm gonna go get that big bag on the table, and I'm gonna go into the final being the wealthiest man in the final. And I think he even used that term, like he's gonna go in being the wealthiest man. He wanted it. He was salivating. He wanted that elimination.
Yeah. So Derek is talking to Mark and Brad. Of course, they're like, of course he's not gonna do Brad. This is his boy. And Mark trying to convince Derek about the same plan the West coming up with, but it's not going to plan, because in his mind, he's gonna open Nehemiah. When he won, in his mind, he's gonna do Nehemiah. But anyway, before we get to that, Wes is trying to figure things out. And the one thing that I did not think they was going to do, but even though I know they've come a long way, baby. He called my boy.
Now, mind you being, normally when men take off their clothes on this show, I've been very, very like, oh, nice little extra something. Mm-hmm. He could have kept his extra ass to himself.
I was like, oh, how did you do that? Because I did not want to.
I didn't want to see all. That's too much. Too soon. Too soon.
I wasn't. Wait.
Too soon. He did it twice. He mooned us twice.
Hold on. I wasn't ready. Like, wait a minute. Hold up.
I wasn't either.
Oh my God, they're a trip. So anyway, he's calling Johnny Bananas rivalry, friendship, whatever it's supposed to be. Wes wants his opinion about whether it's worth it to volunteer for elimination against Derek, who is beaten, Banana, but West did before elimination. Anyway, West is laying all this out, telling Bananas revealed that he is like, look, ain't got no pants on, showing all of the bananas and bananas.
Right.
I don't know why.
Showing all the bananas, all the buns.
Butt cheeks and thong. Anyway, twice. I'm not understanding what was going on. But then, Bananas was like, just do what you gotta do. Go for the
Hold on, I'm sorry, boss lady is
So anyway, next day, Kayla and Jonay, they talk about Kellyanne and Yogi Bada Pooh, and she tells Kayla that Kellyanne, talking about the volunteering for the elimination. And Kayla says she don't care if Jonay sends her in either. And so Jonay was like, well, darn, I got two people telling me they don't care who goes in. So Mark tells Jonay that Derek wants to go in. Jonay wants to throw down West, drop a few pegs or whatever. Like I said, Derek's gonna do whatever he wants to do.
That's right.
West is really pissed off that he didn't get what he wanted. Okay, 2 members of the treehouse are going to do Rita. Kayla and Derek are going down. Now, everybody is like seeing the single pole in the middle of the sand, like, what's going on? Pole wrestle. Kayla, oh my God.
Because it hadn't come up yet this season.
Oh, West is guy getting hyped. When Derek was walking down, Derek, get him, kill him. I don't know what he was saying. He was saying something. West was hyped about this whole thing. He wants the pole wrestle rematch so bad because he lost it to him in the duel. So now it's the perfect time, but it didn't happen. Oh, Derek, he said, kick his ass. Kayla chooses Kellyanne, of course, for opponent. I ain't gonna lie, real talk, I was happy that night wasn't going down. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I thought that she was gonna be the one, but
I was happy she wasn't the one though. Okay. But it's been a long back and forth with them, I knew it was gonna happen that way. So it is what it is. So between the two of them, Derek chooses Nehemiah because he's thinking that he is the easiest one, in my opinion, which I did not like because Nehemiah is strong as crap. So they tricked us. They had the guys go first. We all ready for this big old fight, and then we have a cliffhanger. So we don't know what's going on. We won't know what's going on with this big fire that's about to go down on the challenge. We will come back next week with the conclusion of this fire.
Why did they leave us hanging like this? I was sitting there on the edge of my seat.
I was ready. Ready.
Or is it gonna be me? And they just let us have to sit here on a hot seat for a whole week. Damn, Allstars.
Well, y'all know what you gotta do. Make sure you follow and subscribe and check out my channel. Join membership if you want to. The recap that I did with Ayanna. I think I have one more, and then we're going to conclude this deep dive with Ayanna. Into this episode, we gonna get into this episode. You know how everything going down in the challenge. Yeah, this is my favorite one right here. Period. Oh, she's so silly.
What's up, people?
Oh, Lord have mercy. In this episode, it is a whole lot of stars and puzzles, which it seems like nobody's good at in the channel. I feel like I know I'm not. So they all come back to the crib, and Jonay won the elimination. MJ said he was glad to see her back to try to get that coin. Of course, the Treehouse Alliance did say the vibe was better with Beth gone, etc., etc. Sylvia told Jonay, about the sabotage. Of course, saying she gonna use no Kelly Ann. Lord have mercy. Kelly Ann made a nice phone call back to her boyfriend. We got to see some background about her. And she told me she was struggling a little bit, a little stomach flu. But she just was saying she was with some mold poisoning in her home, but she just been, keeping it pushy, even though she had some health problems. MJ was, of course, putting ice on his knee because he's had complained about it before. That he's trying to preserve himself. Now he won't mess up his knee. Mark and Brad and Derek was talking about MJ playing a scary game, talking about his knee. And Brad was like, I doubt that MJ's knee injury and that he wanted to get MJ out of the house. What's going on, Mama? What you want to add to? We're going to get into the stat competition. That's what it's called.
Good. We're talking about MJ. Let's go ahead and get into it. I think that his knee, I think that he honestly does have knee problems. But, for anybody that's ever had to, deal with an ongoing joint issue or ongoing body issue when once you used to not have them, I don't know. I think they kind of give MJ a hard way to go because some days he feels good and some days he doesn't feel good. I think that that's natural. I don't think that he's BSing about that. When you get of a certain age as well, you got to be real conscious that if you, injure certain parts of your body, it might take 6 months to a year to rehabilitate from something like that. So I don't think that he's selling us a wolf ticket there. I think it's something that he's concerned about. Now, whether or not that leads him to playing a safe game, I'm not certain about that because he's been real clear that, his alliance with Jonay trumps anything and everyone. So I don't think that that's necessarily playing it safe when you announce full stop who you're going to go for and who you're not going to go for. I mean, he's definitely, had Brad in his sights since the beginning of the game. And I think that feeling is mutual with Brad. I don't think it's as personal as MJ kind of talks about it in the, later on in this episode. He uses a specific phrase, which, which had my eyebrows go up like, You really think he's thinking that hard about you? We talked about it last week.
We did.
I think that Brad really wants to show and prove to his kids that he's a superhero. And I really think that that's what he leads with. It's not really about any one person in the house. It's he wants to show his kids, his boys, that he's a superhero. And can you really knock him for that? I don't think so.
Of course not. I think that's everything. So TJ is there on the beach waiting for the challengers. We have 2 heats of 7. They got to sprint to a code station when they scratch off the board and they get a 4-digit code. They use the code to unlock a paddle. They grab the board, but there were 5 boards available. So 2 All-Stars on the heat are going to get eliminated. The next thing, the competitors and with the boards, a paddle to get to the puzzle pieces. Okay, the puzzles again. And in the water to bring them back to shore to solve the puzzle. There are 3 puzzles on shore, meaning 2 more All-Stars from the heat get kicked out. The winner for the men's heat and the women's heats are, of course, the Authority. Now, sabotage. Now, Miss Sylvia and Mark, they each choose somebody for an extra lock of the paddle. Sylvia chose Jonay, and she was pretty pissed off behind that. Okay?
And it's interesting because here you are now be surprised if somebody calls your name. I do think that, and again, everybody knows I love Jonay. I ride for Jonay hard. But once you become the champion, you must expect that people are going to come for you. And just know that nobody's just going to, forget the fact that you are one of the biggest barriers that stands in the way of them, having the crown. And there's ways of going about things. And I don't think that Sylvia necessarily goes about her way, with, she don't pour honey on it. She uses a lot of vinegar, right? At the same time, that's who she is. That's her authentic self. But I do want to bring up one piece, getting back to the very first activity. Girl, when I saw them scraping those, girl, I don't know about you, but the first thing I thought about were, lottery scratchers.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, Lord,
was like, none of y'all buy lottery scratches.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Because that's where you get me. Because you can scratch something, but a doggone, I don't care. Whatever you find that sharp.
Yes. Have you ever gone into the corner store? You see somebody using the back of one of those little lottery pistols going for gold. They'll have 50 of them scratched in less than 30 seconds. It'd be like scratch, 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 scratch.
Look, a hair pick, all kind of stuff. Let me tell you.
That's right. That's right. I'm like, y'all don't buy scratchers. I think I would have done well with that. I mean, I don't buy scratchers now, but I distinctly remember being a kid and my mom, she used to get like a whole, I never understood it. But maybe it's just, the way that folks go to the casino and it gives them joy. But my mother would go and she would buy like $100, and that's a whole lot. Like in the early 90s, she would buy like $100 in scratches and had this long string. And we sit in the car, she'd break them up. She'd give me 25. If I had a friend or a cousin in the car, she'd get him 25. We'd just be sitting there with a quarter or a penny. And her whole thing was, we had a system where we would scratch them off. We brushed the little silver thing in a little plastic bag, all the little silver dust. Don't get no silver dust in the car. And $2 winners, you put those in one pile. Then you put the ones that were losers in the other pile, because my mom was gonna go back and look through all the ones that we and just make sure that they was losing tickets. Like she had a whole system. I sat on it and watched, Sylvia struggling trying to scrape that stuff. I was like, girl, you don't buy scratchers.
She don't. And that's what I said about Ron. I was like, So Mark, well, she said she chose Joné because she's good with math and puzzles. It kind of go back to what you just said. And Mark asked if anybody wanted to sabotage, and then everyone laughed. And MJ was like, "Yeah." I'm like, because he said he didn't want to go too hard on his knee, so he wanted to kind of give himself some slack. I was like, okay, I kind of understand that.
Yeah, I was a little. I wondered if, how sometimes if people know they're gonna get fired, they resign. I was like, maybe
I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe he just doesn't want them to call his name, and so he would rather take the like glory to say I volunteered. Because remember when Jordan volunteered in a previous challenges season? So maybe he already had a gut feeling that they were gonna throw his name out there, and so versus going through all those motions of being sabotaged and having to sit and listen to that, he just decided to go ahead and take it. I'll say this: do I knock him or applaud him for that action? I can relate to it. It does kind of take the tension off the room when you own something. You own the moment. It's not somebody imposing a moment upon you. MJ, for better or for worse, whether you like him or not, you can't discount the fact that he's been an athlete and he was a good athlete at that. And, has that athletic spirit of we are here to play the game too. So, I don't know if I had to make a vote to say whether or not that was a good thing or a bad thing, my vote is for good. Strategy wise, maybe not so good, because you do wind up throwing it all on the line. You better be damn well sure as shit that you can,
100%.
You can deliver on that too, or you might be going home and then be mad at yourself, like, man, I should have never volunteered. It could have gone a different way. I don't know. Do you see it going a different way?
Actually, I agree. Like for him, he may have thought he was going to get put in. His knee, I feel like his knee probably actually do hurt, and he really wanted some extra time to get the project done, not thinking he could go home, thinking he could still make it. I think that because we are of a certain age, going into things like this, to have to go through the whole thing, 9, 10 weeks, whatever it is, and know you got a busted knee, all these problems, are you going to actually make it through all these challenges in real life? Now, this is no shade.
Without dealing with something that you have to, get rehab, for the next 6 months to 2 years of your life. Yeah.
So sometimes you can make them hard decisions. Like, look, I'm going to try to stick it as long as I can, but I know I ain't going to make it. But I'm going to take these few little episodes in, this last little, couple of blah, 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 blah. to be seen to get the numbers on Instagram. I'm just keeping it real, and nothing's wrong with that. I'm gonna still fight hard, trust. But in reality, this 20-year-old girl could probably outsmoke me. I already know I ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, we got to think about who's there. We have Wes, we have Jordan, we have Nehemiah, we have Derek, we have Mark Long. Am I leaving anybody out?
No, but Mark Long is different. He's like a beast.
I'm not leaving anybody out. So, and we have Brad. So we're talking about sprinting across a beach, and when you're sprinting, you're landing in the sand. You might roll an ankle if you're not used to running in the sand. There's it's interesting. We were on Allstars 2. Every morning, Janelle would get up super early in the morning, and she jogged the beach. And it'd been many years since I, had really jogged like that. And so I remember telling myself at one point, I was like, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning, and I may not be able to go as long as she goes, but I'm going to do what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have sand around here. I have to drive an hour away to go to a place where I can run on a beach. Not really an hour, about 45 minutes. Yeah, about 45 minutes, give or take. So to say that, that's something that my body would be used to, absolutely not. Where does MJ live? He lives in the middle of America, right? And so to say that he has access to be running on that surface like that, for his body to be used to it, heck yeah, that's a risk, So like I said, if I had to vote about whether or not it was a good decision for him to take sabotage, I would say, yeah, it does avoid a lot of interpersonal conflicts and things like that. But I do think that, trying to center him being inconsistent about how he feels about his knee, I don't think that that's right, because we all know if you ever nurse something, some days it feels good, some days it doesn't. It doesn't mean that it never does feel good or that it always feels good.
So, yeah, it's what it is. MJ, I feel like it is. I'm not gonna say he gave up. I just feel like this episode, it looked like it's right on the wall for me. So we got to see the cute little scene with Wes and Nehemiah with their my best friend. Oh, they crap paddling side by side in the water, and then we got Brad and Derek and
Jordan. That moment was like a little clandestine. I sat back and I was analyzing just how that particular scene was shot, because there was a lot of wide shots of them just kind of being in the ocean. And I just felt like just watching it kind of slowed the momentum down a little bit. I don't know. It just, maybe they didn't, I would have liked them to have maybe some close-up shots in the water, close up on them. But I think that, I don't know if we were able to see how long they were out there, because that didn't seem like a short distance that they were, I guess it's called wakeboarding or something. That didn't seem like they were doing it for a short amount of time, even though we only see it for a short amount of time. So I can imagine if I were with my best friend on the planet, wakeboarding in this beautiful area, it's quiet, it's taking a long time. I already know that my position in the game is not going to be in the authority. I might just take a moment to take it all in too, and just be grateful and thankful. Nehemiah is a very spiritual person. I don't know Wes personally, to know, how he gets down when it's just him and the air, and the nature. But for him to be very transparent about, Nehemiah being his ace one. I think we see a side of Wes that a lot of people don't always give him credit for. He really apparently rides for the people that he rides for.
He does. Yes. That's one of the characteristics that you can say about him through all the seasons of anything they've ever been on. If he rides for you, I don't care if there's one person in the entire house, he will do that. He always has. He just gets a bad rap because we see more of the bad and negative because he fights. He's grimy, and that's just what it is. Okay, so we got Brad, Derek, and Jordan competing for the puzzle, and Brad getting it done, period, as he always does. Brad
shows up. I gotta give Shine where Shine is due. Brad shows up for this 1,000%, and he earns this winning spot 1,000%. Not saying that anybody else didn't earn there, whatever they had to do.
Mhm.
But from my standpoint, I've seen Brad in a puzzle competition, just not be at his best. But in this, he was calm, focused, composed. And again, we only see what we're told, in terms of how the shots are done and how it's cut up and
Yes.
presented. But you can't just make something completely up. They're gonna pull it from what they're able to capture, and Brad gives it to him. He really gives us a top performance in this activity. And Brad and I have had our glows and grows, our ups and downs, but I give him his flowers for this. He really did that. He did a fantastic job, as does Kellyanne. Look, woo! Let me go ahead and let you run it down before I talk about
it. It I don't know. It was amazing. I kind of agree. I'm interested what to say because I just thought it was amazing.
Hold off on a Kellyanne piece, so that comes after this.
All right.
Yeah, just from start to finish, Brad just follows through on every step of the of that particular competition and activity. And like I said, when he and Jody were working on this puzzle in one of the activities in Allstars 2, the communication frazzled when we were doing this truck challenge where you had to open up the boxes, and he kind of lost it and he just ripped the tops off of them. He comes into All-Stars 3 a lot more composed and a lot more focused. So, it's one thing to talk about your game, and it's another thing to execute. And I think that he does that in this challenge, and he shows us exactly who he is.
Well, I agree with that. And I also want to talk about when we get into the ladies, because to me, the ladies, I don't know why it seems like it's always like the kind of the drama or whatever. Once we get to the ladies competition, there's so much drama that's going on in the house there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But it is what it is.
Right.
It is. So with the ladies, we get this in the women's heat. Naya, she had got an early lead. And I was so hyped. But she struggled with her paddleboard.
Yes, in my head, she's my play cousin that we used to be at each other's house all the time. In my head, in my mind, because when I met her 2 weeks ago, finally, in person, there was just this immediate zip, connection. And like I said, a lot of people got a whole lot to say about Naya. They might bring up old stuff. Yeah. I can only deal with somebody with who they present themselves to be to me in this day and time. And her aura, her energy was just nothing but giving, nothing but just giving and loving and and I'm a kind of an empathic person when it comes to somebody just throwing energy out there. And especially now, since I've been through some things, if I even sense that somebody has something else happening, I'm gonna throw up my armor, I'm gonna throw up my wall, and try to hope them arrows don't penetrate. But charity and giving of love. And that being said, I wanted this for her. I wanted this win for her. We subsequently see, how things pan out in this particular competition. But I think that save for the wakeboarding, that's something when I was thinking about when I was watching them do it, I was like, well, how would I respond to it? And true enough, Kellyanne said, she's like, I own 4 wakeboards. There we go. If you own, I don't own I've never owned a surfboard. I've never thought to my head, the next sports gear purchase is going to be a surfboard. That's not been in my purview. So but I feel like the challenge does that. It does put you in these positions where something that you have a lot of experience with sometimes comes up and you have an advantage. But ain't that life? Ain't that life?
It is.
So, even with the puzzles, right?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go over there and get it. So you can see it. Okay.
But as far as doing a puzzle, I can tell you right now, that's not my forte at all. I'm not good at it. I mean, I used to be, as far as not puzzle pieces, I used to be really good at like the crossword puzzle. That was my thing. I'm like, there's a big storm coming over here. Like it's getting louder and louder in the background. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, but I had to come over here and get it because my daughters and my son, my son, my little daughters, I have all these toys and these manipulatives to help them like just figure out life and problem solve. So back on our challenge, there was an elimination that Jasmine and Latarian and Melinda and Nehemiah were in. And when it came up, I was just like, OMG, I wish that, wait a minute, it's those puzzle pieces and it's all falling down on me. All of them getting crushed by all the puzzle pieces. And it's 2 Camishas. Which Camisha is it? Is it this Camisha? Is it that Camisha? Which Camisha is it? Where'd she go? Well, anyway, I'm gonna keep talking because I know that when Camisha come back, she's gonna be like, keep talking. So I'm gonna keep talking.
I am. I was adding something in. It's a smooth way that I do it that the person who just keeps on going. So you got it going on. Yeah. I'm learning. I wanted to add my overlay because of what we're talking about. So it has to be
but look, this is a toy that like we have in our house, and so they're like these little gears, and I'm gonna see if I can. Yeah, there we go.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's these little gears, and you put it on here, and then there's all these little pieces, and you try to figure out which gears go to what. And so as I'm sitting there watching them do that challenge, I'm like, this is in my house. We do this all the time. Like that would have been my jam if I had been put in that position. But Kellyanne gets put in that position. And, she has, not only does she have the background owning wakeboards, but she's also, yoga. And she does agility and balance, which is essential when you're doing something like that. I mean, anybody can stand up on a wakeboard, maybe for, a minute or 30 seconds. Right. So as a part of
the first one for the puzzle pieces.
Exactly.
The first one.
So
this was even helping her give advice about it. But Ronnie, I was frustrated a little bit with Ronnie, I'm going to be honest with you, because as she's trying to get there, I hear them in the background saying, we need Ronnie to win one to help us as we've been helping her. And I thought about that as
that one kind of was like what is it when somebody scratches a chalkboard back.
Yes,
that kind of like rubbed my frequency the wrong way because that takes ownership of somebody else's achievement.
Thank you.
Ronnie has been rolling through this whole game, and in many respects, I have more questions about that comment because at this point, I haven't been presented as an audience watching the challenge. I haven't been presented all these opportunities where you saved Ronnie. So I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm not going to necessarily say what you're saying ain't true. But I've not seen the evidence of that. I've seen Ronnie show up and be a consistent player in his game. I don't think Ronnie's ever come in last.
For threats, if they're actually being truthful about it, and Ronnie was she really was close today, and I was like, that's why I said I was a little frustrated because she got right there trying to do them doggone stars. Anyway, so
I was kind of trying to figure out like
the puzzle was weird.
That piece, like they do this shot of that one little piece, and I'm like, how did you not see that piece?
Right.
At the same time, if you're in the middle of it and you're not looking down, you can miss it. Like. I was like, because I was probably messing with her. Like, are all my pieces just off? Like, are all my pieces just, am I being set up? Like, I know I probably would have been thinking that because I'm just like, wait a minute, I'm at the end. Why isn't this adding up? And then, for Kellyanne's tower to completely fall over in the wind. And then for her to be able to, but that's a super metaphor for life too. How many times have you been almost there and everything gets knocked down? And you look around you and everybody else is almost there. And you have you're faced with this choice where you either quit and give up or you just start back over again and start to rebuild your whole thing.
Yes.
Well, I think Kellyanne shows us, what can happen if you persist and you just continue to go, even when it seems as if everything's been knocked down. So I'm proud of Ronnie. Ronnie once again shows that she's this contender. I have more questions about what Treehouse is talking about in terms of them carrying her. And Kellyanne showed up and showed off.
100%.
Her celebration, the little janky dance, whatever.
Yeah, it was birthday night.
Janky, but quirky dance. I don't care if it's a quirky dance, if it's an Urkel dance, whatever else. You won. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I didn't get that whole thing about her celebrating, and I wouldn't have done that. Girl, if I would have went to a twerk section in front of you guys and been hallelujah, or went to I'm praising the Lord in church, however I would have celebrated, it would have been mine and my choice to do it. I'd be like, girl, bye. It would have celebrated harder because you said something.
Right, she want to stand on her head and do that Jennifer West thing when Jennifer West be like smacking her hips when she's upside down. She do whatever the heck she want. She do whatever the heck she want.
Yes.
She won.
Yes.
She won. Let me win a daily.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna probably do chicken dance.
Whatever.
When you win, you get to do what you want. When you win, you get to do what you want. So I think that Sylvia was just hate. I think that's just what it is. I think she just straight up hate. I'm gonna blow my nose.
Bless you. So back at the crib, they have the birthday party for everybody, and Kellyanne speaks to Jonay and Naya about the situation. Naya says, F the treehouse. Okay? She said, get them. She said, get them. So, of course, Sylvia.
Yeah, they were coming for Kellyanne and Kendall super early and really trying to manipulate that vacuum of isolating them as targets for going home from the very start. So, like I said, I got love for a lot of people that are in the treehouse now. Like, let's not get it twisted. I still ride for Tina, even though she ain't there no more. I still ride for Tina. You know, I ride for Ronnie now. You know, I had a chance to meet her too, very briefly. But, you know, again, she gives off realness to me. She's somebody that, you know, it's funny. People have asked me who I would actually be like, okay, I'm in an elimination, you know, with someone, and I would really look at them as my equal. She's one of them. Ain't too many people that's been on the challenge that I would see as like my equal in an elimination situation. Mm-hmm. She's one of them though. She gonna get all of me though. She gonna get all of me though if it's ever happens. But truly, like she is, again, it's only a handful of people that I will see as my equal. Like other people, they might get me in an elimination, but it will be because they just had a lucky day. It wouldn't be because they could just completely dominate over. Not in the Allstars sense. But Ronnie would be somebody that I definitely would be like, oh yeah, I gotta be on my H1 game with her. But yeah, like I said, I'll leave. You know, we have the birthday party, we got the side conversations. Naya's real clear, you know, do what you gotta do. But then Naya winds up, her name gets called.
See, this is the thing
about that.
See, the thing about it is, you know, I knew, you know, she was gonna call. Look, Sylvia said in the confession, Kellyanne can eat SHIT with the extra side of gluten. So we already knew that Sylvia was gonna be put up. Okay.
I hate Trent though. I mean, they come for each other like they slept with each other's man or something. Like just crazy.
Because okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. The part that Sylvia said about Naya was not completely off though, and just being strategic. She picked Naya, thought of thinking she was gonna be an easy win. Okay, which is also subjective. Naya was a Division One athlete volleyball player. I know, but I don't understand why people sleep on that. The thing about it is, just because she didn't get number one everything in the challenge, you know she's an athlete. I would not assume. I'm talking about me. I would not assume. Sylvia assumed because she wasn't winning in the game that she was going to be bad in the challenge. That's ignorant, and that's how you get sent home. That's what I feel like. Even on the show, she spoke about it. Athlete mentality, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. Like again, a daily challenge has so many pieces that really some of them are strength, agility, and persistence, and other pieces are just straight up luck. Like again, for the wind to blow at that one particular time, like there was this time in All-Stars 2 where it's Jody and I can't remember who was going with her in that particular challenge,
but we were on the trampolines. And you got to look close because I'm not certain if in the shots, I got to go back and watch, but I'm not certain in the shots if they really captured what was happening. But girl, the rain came down like apocalypse now. It wasn't raining for anybody else, but for Jody and the guy that was jumping at the same time as she was. It might have even been Brad. I don't remember, but I do remember that the rain came down like in these walls, sheets. So she's having to jump up on this trampoline through sheets of water, probably can't see through the water coming down her face. You're having to grab the math puzzle piece and swim with the joint in the ocean and then get to the beach and solve the math problem in the rain. None of us had to do that. No athletic ability in the world is going to get you through that. But what can get you through that is your inner grit and your persistence, of which, you know, when Jody decided to turn it on, she has. Again, getting back to Naya. Okay, Naya hasn't won a deli. At the same time, Naya hasn't been last this season yet either, has she?
She has to know. She's another one that comes close. Again, you have to read the room. When you're in a situation like this, you're getting down to the nit grit, then you don't just assume because, I never saw them win anything. No, think about their work, their body of work, what you've seen them do, how you've seen them move. And also think about this. When you're in the elimination, when you're in that last ditch effort, you're going to give every freaking thing you got. So imagine if you're already an athlete, you're good, somewhat good. At that moment, you're a superstar because you don't want to go home. But they never think that far ahead. They say, oh, they weren't that good. No. You're competing with a bunch of people who are in the challenge who are also strong. The competition is going to be, the bar is very high. If you're not looking at the bigger picture, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's exactly what she did. Because baby, it was really stars. Again, I swear this whole episode was like a star theme. So the events, they had to get a vertical maze of 3 star cutouts along the path. They had to guide a pole through the maze until they could get free from the 3 cutouts. They used a pole to try to score a ball through a hole at the bottom of the puzzle board. We call Naya the one-hit wonder baby because they were struggling. They were struggling with that board. But
what's that pool cue move when you got to get that?
That was everything. MVP. That's MVP for me because when she got over there that pole and she let that sucker go, I said, "Now you better kill her."
She was like, I'm trying to make it look good, but I can't see because my finger blocking the counter. She was like, "Pa!" And the joint went right in.
Ooh.
If there was money on the table, she'd be like,
"Yes." It was so smooth. I was like, yes, "Oh my God!"
It was cool, man. Let me tell you. So when I was watching the episode of our conversation, I was watching it because I had watched it on my regular TV, half of it, and then I had to stop because I had to get everybody ready for school. So I was trying to catch the last little part of it when I was in the grocery store on my phone. Man, I screamed out loud in the Safeway when that ball went in for Naya. I was like, scared the heck out of somebody in the daggone store. Lady looked at me, she was like, "Oh, shh." I said, "No, I'm not. Shush. I'm happy." So
hold on. What about the part when Kellyanne yelled when Kellyanne yelled to Sylvia that she was sorry and Sylvia was like, "F off." I was like,
you know what though? Let me tell you something about Sylvia. She's the one though. She's that one that, you know, if you had to cut somebody out and she was your best friend, she would not leave. Like, and if somebody tried to fight you after you cussed them out, she'd be the one jumping in there with you. She'd be that girlfriend. So, you know, I appreciate that about her spirit. I don't appreciate necessarily like the sore sport. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but Kellyanne rocked. She rocked it. She rocked it. Yes. Her whole thing fell over. I might have to just stay there and look at it for like, I know the wind didn't just knock my whole thing over. I would have had to like take a moment. And in the past, Kellyanne has kind of become just undone very easily. She shows that she don't do that no more. She shows that what's that guy? Silas on Instagram, he'd be like, "She did that." Yeah, yes. She did that.
Yes, she did.
So, yeah. But yeah, Naya, she takes it so quick. She gets through the maze. She gets the hole in one. She Tiger Woods is the whole thing out, and walks away like Venus and Serena Williams with a fat ass and a big win. So, then we jump to the guys. You got what is it? MJ
Lord have mercy. We got the struggle bus.
I
was like, I literally thought MJ was gonna win it.
Struggle bus.
As long as it took for him to get that doggone ball in that hole. I mean, even everybody was like, Lord have mercy, can he just get it? Got to the point where I was like, is he actually gonna win this competition? And then when he finally won, he had to acting all crazy, hopping around and yelling and screaming, talking about, give me them stars, give me them stars. I was like, damn. It took you 5 tries, bro. Please, just go to the top. Just go to the top.
I'm so glad Derek won, though. I really, after All-Stars 2 and the way he went out in All-Stars 2, I definitely was rooting for Derek. I was rooting for Derek, not just because, he's been there for me or whatever outside of this, but, like I said, I think I can say this publicly without it being a fun thing. When you leave, when the show ends, right? Just like life, there are going to be people that reach out to you, and there are going to be people who just don't. And Derek didn't have no reason, no rhyme, nothing to gain from just reaching out and saying, hey, just want to check on you and the kids. Are y'all good? And he just did that, like, as a human being, like not game talk, not whatever. He's been in so many, I think he's been in 19 eliminations. Like, he's a challenge, like, icon, like truly, like, I might have done some iconic things, but he is definitely if he's not in that documentary, then that documentary is missing a piece, because I think that you can't have the challenge without talking about Derek Kaczynski. So that being said, for him to be able to take, is this his first All-Stars win? Like his first elimination win in All-Stars?
I think it will, because I think he said that. He really was hyped about this win. So it might be his first.
This might be his first elimination. It's not his first daily win, but I think it's his first elimination win. I got to go back to my notes.
I thought he had mentioned it, but we have to do the research.
Yeah, but I was excited. I was hyped for him. I did a little shuffle bug. When I saw that happened, not as a slight against MJ, but more so as a celebration of Derek.
100%.
He does so much for just the challenge community. What him and Scott Yeager just do, I think it provides a portal for those of us that may not have been connected in a while, or those of us that are just now discovering it, to just be able to think about it and unpack it and unravel it and then enjoy it in new ways because of what they say. So, I was happy for him that happened. I was also happy that Nehemiah wasn't in it.
Yes.
I was happy that Nehemiah got a chance to live. Nehemiah was my very first All-Star.
That.
After 17 years, I ride hard for Nehemiah.
Right.
I will never, ever forget, if you've ever been an older woman that has weight issues and you're standing next to someone who is like lean, trim, fit, together, there is a moment when, if that person chooses to see your humanity, I'm sorry, it feels good. It really does, because so many times when you're overweight and when you're struggling with your body image, there are many, 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 many microaggressions and things that happen to you every single day that explicitly tell you that you aren't enough. And Nehemiah was just like a pure gentleman and just very, very kind, given the fact that, again, after what he had gone through on All-Stars 1, and for the very first challenge, was paired with the person who seemingly couldn't, deliver or get through it or whatever.
Right.
So that being said, I was very glad that Nehemiah was nowhere near the elimination arena.
Look, I'm gonna say it was a good episode. Guys, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. A few episodes here are talking about the very end challenge. So we're getting ready to go into the Challenge USA. We have a few things coming up, and I'm hoping that Ayanna is gonna be on this journey with me, because we have the USA challenge coming up. We also have the documentary. The documentary, we're gonna talk about that. I'm interested to see who they picked and chose to speak about, from the old back in the day to the new. People are gonna be interested. I hope I see my girl Ayanna in there. I'm saying I hope I'm make sure I tell y'all. She better be in that documentary, okay? Because she's a part of history. 100%.
Well, I'll tell you, like, again, I found out about it when you guys found out about it. So, I'm curious to see, what the story that they tell. Part of me hopes that it is the beginning of telling these stories because, when we think about, documentary, period, how many documentaries have there been about Ali? A whole bunch. And
Yes.
every time that you have one, depending upon the lens that you look through, you get to see a whole new side of him. Like the most recent Muhammad Ali documentary that I saw really talks about, I don't know if you know this, but Muhammad Ali used to record, like just that whole technology of being able to record your own voice. It fascinated him, right? Because you gotta remember, Cassius Clay, he's born during a time when there weren't any tape recorders. So he comes of age when tape recorders are, they're like the iPhones of his time, right?
Yeah, the 80s, yeah.
Right. So in the 70s, I believe like he starts in the 60s and the 70s, he begins to make these home tapes where he's just recording himself talking to his children. And for many, 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 many years, his daughters did not share those tapes with the world. And in recent years, they've shared those tapes. So there's a documentary that included a few of them, and I got a chance to see it. Like I said, there could be 1 million documentaries about Muhammad Ali, and you could learn something new from every single one. So I'm curious to watch this documentary. I hope it's the beginning of the conversation and not the end of it. We have the evolution into the Challenge USA. So I'm just excited for this to be one more page, one more finger on the hand to say, hey, this is what this good life is all about. While we got it, while we still here. I hope they talk about DM. Rest in peace to her.
Yes, they have to. They have to bring her. They have to. They really have to.
About DM. Because she just has been somebody that her name just continues to come up in conversation in ways that are,
I cried. I remember.
Impactful.
I followed her on the show. So I really do hope they do bring about these people that's from the past that we all have grown to love over years. Where are they now? The ones we have lost. I hope they acknowledge those people. And man, I'm looking forward to it. This will be the first time that the challenge has done this, and it should have been done. The secrets, the little drama, whatever they bring up, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like I just think that there's so many opportunities to just not only tap into those of us who have been involved in the challenge for many years, or those who have been fans and have written for the challenge from the spooky haunted house all the way up through Spies, Allies, and whatnot.
The Allies.
So, yes, Lord, Spies, Lies, and Allies, right? Like I said, but I also hope that it opens the door for people who just didn't know. Like, I had no idea that there was this huge following of the challenge in Brazil until this year. Mm-hmm. So I think that things like this open the door for new people to come in, for us to see it from different angles. And I hope encourage some of us who went home and went under rocks and just thought that was a chapter of our life that is never going to be opened again. Be encouraging to say, wait a minute, maybe I ain't done singing, Brennan likes to say. Maybe I got a little bit left in me. Maybe I could try something like that one more time.
Sharing the screen here. So that was my breakdown, my deep dive with Ayanna. She has this season coming up. I feel like that Ayanna deserved a new season, a new chance. And I think in this season is her opportunity for a lot of people in this season to come through. But because Ayanna's going through a lot right now with cancer, and she's fighting it, she's beating it. But with this season being pre-recorded and everything else, I just want to see her do the thing. With whatever she does, I'm going to support 100%. So this was Kamisha Reviews. This was a deep dive into Ayanna. The new season of the Allstars is coming up. I will see you guys next time. One thing I want you guys to know, and that nothing that will never change about this, I am the queen of reality TV. Don't get it twisted and don't doubt it. It is what it is. Period.